is Jay Lethal, the Black Machismo, and whoa, the Nature Boy, and you're listening to the Potsy and Tino Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings to you its tag team champions of the world, the Potsy and Tino Show. That's right, it's Tino over there smoking a Black and Mild or a Swisher Sweet. I don't even know.
It's sweet. No, it's a Black and Mild.
And Potsy drinking, I'm drinking Rare Breed Wild Turkey tonight. It's 58% alcohol. But our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. And Tino apparently is drinking Jim Beam Apple.
And I'm mixing a little bit of this.
Well, you need to. Like me, I would just drink it straight. But that's just how I am. But so Tino,
Yep.
Every week we'd like to do this little thing. It's called What's Up With You? My friend. What's going on with you?
The biggest thing was Tuesday, my mini-me ripped his leg open. And we had to go to the emergency room.
He got some big-ass feet.
What?
He got some big-ass feet.
He wasn't 11. No, 10.
Dude,
I'm 13, dude.
All I know is I saw the picture of it. And I'll let you tell the story of like what actually happened and everything else. But I saw the picture of it, and Ward, former co-host of this show, actually messaged me, and he goes, "Damn, trolling your friend," talking about me, because I was like, that's a big that's like man's feet on a kid's body.
That's messed up. That was messed up. But it's true. He's got big feet. He's gonna be a big boy.
He's got bigger feet than you, doesn't he?
No, I wear 13. He wears a 10.
Well, but he'll be there by like the end of this year.
I give him a couple of years.
I don't know, man.
But
so what happened?
He's playing football with his friends out in the playground at school, and I guess it was by they have a fence. It's a fenced-in area. What's up, Chris Barrett?
Oh, Chris Barrett's already in the chat?
Yeah. So it's a fenced-in area, and on the fence, it's like one of those old fences, and it had the bolts that come out on the side. You know what I'm talking about? The hole on the door. So he went up to catch a football, and he came down. His leg came down and on that bolt, and it punctured his leg. And as we used to say, if you're from the country, you know the saying, like he cut it to the white meat. It was like a 9 centimeter. What they say, it was a 9 centimeter laceration, and it was a 9 stitches to get that thing closed up. And the kid never cried. Never cried, except because I don't like needles. But when we got into the emergency room,
so you cried. He didn't.
No. He cried, but because when I got needed out to numb it, put the numbing stuff around there so he could stitch him up. He was more scared of the needle than pain, because he's watching the dude numb him. He's like, and tears are coming down. I'm like, does it hurt? He goes, no. He was just scared of the needle.
Well, it could have just been reflex too at that point, that the tears were coming down, because sometimes you got the adrenaline going, but you still got like Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair tears.
This dude was sitting there. He got bored, and while we were waiting, because you got to wait. And so he's on board. He said, can't we just put a Band-Aid on it and go home? I'm like, no, dude. That's going to need a little more than a Band-Aid.
So what did I say that you should do with it?
What did you say? I forgot what you said. Asshole.
No, it works.
Super glue.
I said you should just grab it, put it together, and super glue it.
Nah, they had to clean it out, flush it out, do all that stuff.
Now that makes sense, but you do know that, like, it's funny because my brother just had heart surgery, and during his heart surgery, he was actually like asking me beforehand, "Hey Rob, what did you do to make sure that like your stitches didn't get like all messed up or anything?" And I was like, "I didn't get stitches." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "They glued my chest back together when I had my quadruple bypass surgery." He's like,
"They didn't glue his?"
No, they stitched him. They might have used they might have stapled him because it was two different places. Like I did mine at Wake Med, he did his at Duke.
Oh.
So and he claimed that he had the best doctor, blah blah blah. But when I got mine done, I got heard, this is the best doctor in the world.
They always say that. They all say that.
Well, that's not true. They don't always say that because you can actually see on like when you're going in, there's a board and just like a car salesman, there is a board that sits there and shows how many this guy's done that week versus other people. So now granted, most people are already asleep by then. Right? You
weren't.
No. I was asleep like immediately after that, but not before then. But yeah. Chris Barrett says not much is going on with him. He's just reading some new books that he got today. I'd love to hear what you got, but we don't understand non-American measurements. So Tino was saying centimeters. Just so Chris Barrett knows, that's about a 4.5 inch wide cut and two stitches per every inch, roughly.
So he got 9.
Yeah. So 4.5 inch thing, he got 9 stitches. So one every or 2 every inch. So what else has been going on with you, man?
Let's see.
You didn't come out to the horror show.
I played a show. I had to play a show. What was this? Friday night. I was at Abbey Road in Fuquay Arena, and guess who came and see me? That's what I wanted to tell you. I forgot to put pictures up. Lee's back in town for the week, and her and Tish.
No, I knew that. Our friend Lee, who I introduced Tino to when she was underage and not even 21 yet, because our friend Fubar wasn't 21 yet, and we were sitting at a Ruby Tuesdays one night.
I remember the story.
And I'm telling everybody else. I'm telling Chris Barrett and others. So we met Tish, who is Lee's mom, and we met Lee, and we also met their friend Weisha. And they were telling us, hey, we really want to find a place to go sing karaoke. And of course, Fubar and I are like, oh, we know the exact place to go sing karaoke. We're going to this place called Arnie's. And then all of a sudden, here you go.
Yeah, he is.
Well, it wasn't me that said this now. But so Lee, who wasn't 21 yet, although she was drinking even at the Ruby Tuesdays with her mom and their friend Weisha, they were like, well, what do you mean we can go sing karaoke? Lee's not 21, and they I guess confided in us that information at that point, right? And Fubar looks at them and goes, I'm not 21 either. While he's got a beer in his hand and a shot in the other, and he's like, we go to this place called Arnie's because at that point, Fubar said, they encourage us to bring under 21 people in.
I didn't know that part.
Well, I didn't believe that part, but anyways, so they were like, well, if you think we can get in, then yeah, we'll go out there. And Tino just happened to be out there singing karaoke that night, and everybody got to meet each other. And so that's one of those folks that, like, because of who you know and everything else and who you've already become friends with, you end up getting to know lifelong friends because of them. So yeah, Lee's in town, and she mentioned that she was in town on Facebook, and I sat there and said, when we sing in karaoke, and nobody knows where a karaoke place is right now.
Yeah, she messaged me last week. She's like, I'm gonna be in town. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna get together. So when are you playing? And so I messaged her again Thursday, or she messaged me again like middle of week, Wednesday, Thursday. And I told her, and she's like, yes. So her, Tish, and Tish's husband came out, and they said that Weisha's moving back. So Weisha's moving back in a couple of weeks. I think they said she'll be back in like the 11th.
Well, we need to get the old group together. We need to find out where like Nona's doing karaoke or something, and we need to get the old band back together.
That'd be awesome.
Chris Barrett says, I mean, most places won't check IDs on certain nights. That's very true. But you know, I might as well go ahead and teach the old secret, because this is how I started drinking when I was 16 years old. Was my brother-in-law used to buy the first round and sit there and give me my drink, which was a Crown and Coke at the time. And I would drink most of it down. And while there was still some in it, so you could still smell the Crown in it, I would walk up to the bar and go, hey, can I get another Crown and Coke? And I'd put it down, and they would pick it up. And, you know, if you looked under 21, one of the first telltale things is if you smell it, you know whether or not it's a Crown and Coke or not.
Where were you going to smell drinks?
What's that?
Where were you going that they smelled drinks? I don't ever remember them smelling drinks.
Hey, I mean, this is up north, but I started, you know, but if you walked up and you had a glass in your hand and you put the glass down and said, can I get another Crown and Coke? And it was a glass that they would ask, because Tino, you know this. If you order a non-alcoholic beverage, it comes in a plastic cup. But if you order an alcoholic beverage, you get a glass. You know, so that's why you'd bring the glass back up. They could smell it and figure out whether or not it was alcoholic or not if they wanted to, because an underage kid could pick up a glass that was empty, pour a little bit of their Coke back in it and say that it was, but it wouldn't smell like an alcoholic beverage at that point. You know, so just another way for bouncers to figure out whether or not you were of age and able to drink.
Or this is what we were good at. We take a flask in and we'd order Cokes.
Well, no. We would do even better than that. We called it old schooling. We would have the flask in the trunk of the car because everybody wanted you to go outside and smoke. So we would go outside and we'd go out to the car, either pour stuff into our drink or just pour it down our throats.
I used to do that shit Fat Daddies when I was low on funds. I used to take a flask and I go to Coke, and about the fourth or fifth time I go up, have another Coke. Russ, the bartender who I love, he's like, dude, do you want to drink? You don't have to keep doing that. So Russ, bless his heart, dude, I've rolled out of there blitzed, and he'd only charged me $20. So I would leave him a $50 tip because I I was drinking top shelf shit. So
well, I mean, you know, like remember Smashly? Okay.
Yep.
So there was this young lady named Ashley who actually was the bartender at Arnie's at the time that we would all go to Arnie's. Now the place isn't even called Arnie's anymore, so I guess we can tell all these stories at this point, almost like a GameStop story a week. But Smashly would make us something called a cripple cricket. A cripple cricket. And this drink was green, and she just put like 12 straws in it, and there'd be like a full bottle of liquor in it. And by the time the night was over and they're like, all right, who's paying for the cripple cricket? It was never on any of our tabs.
I remember Fubar walking around with a cripple cricket by himself.
And I remember that too, because this drink, folks, just so everybody knows, was a like big gulp cup from like 7-Eleven filled with liquor and some other stuff in it to make it green. But then it was in a brown paper bag. Like if you were like, you know, walking down the street as a homeless person with an alcoholic beverage, except they do it with a bottle that's like a 40. This was literally like a 32 or a 64 ounce big gulp. I can't even remember how big the damn thing was, but it was enough to have where we would put 8 straws in it. And we would go, all right, ready, set, go. And we'd all drink until we couldn't drink anymore.
God. Oh, my God. Makes me drunk thinking about it.
Do you remember the times that I was the guy that we would sit there and go, okay, we're going to sit there and see who can chug a beer faster? And it'd be a pitcher of beer. Now, remember, before I turned 30, I didn't drink beer. Hated the taste, would not drink it, but yet I learned how to chug beer faster than anybody else.
I was right there with you. Of course, I went to ECU, so I knew how to do it. You're about the only one that can keep up with me.
and that's just it. Like these random people will be like, hey, nobody can beat us in chugging beer. And all of a sudden, like there'd be a pitcher in front of me. And someone would be like, well, Rob can beat you. And it'd be like, I never said I could beat. Like, I don't even like beer. I'm sitting there drinking a Crown and Coke, sitting there having a good time, throwing darts, singing karaoke, doing it. And all of a sudden, I got a pitcher of beer in front of me. And I'm like, all right, who the fuck am I going up against?
I remember going to Have a Nice Day Cafe, and they had the fish bowls. And I used to walk around with the fish bowl by myself, just me drinking it.
Now, see, nowadays, I can do that stuff. You know, like if it's a beer that's a fishbowl or whatever, I'll sit there and just walk around with it. I don't care. But let's see. Chris Barrett says, I mean, in NYC, the only way to drink in public is out of a brown bag, bum or not. Doesn't matter if it's a $5 bottle or a Thunderbird or a $25 bottle of beer. You're very, very right there, Chris Barrett. One of the cool things about New York City, however, is that like if you were a smoker, you can take that $25 bottle of beer outside the bar as long as you don't step off the curb. So as long as you're standing on their sidewalk, that is part of their lease line, and you could actually drink that $25 bottle of beer there. The reason why I know this is because when the non-smoking laws went into place in New York, my buddy John had me and Fubar, as well as our friends Doug and Mike, come up, and we all hung out at a bar in Brooklyn where the bartender had also attended the University of Alabama, which is where my buddy John went. During this whole situation, Fubar, who knows nothing about college football, decided to walk in to the bar and hang out and everything. And when he noticed that the bartender was going outside to smoke, he walked out alongside her. Now, it wasn't to pick her up or anything. It was actually to get her on our side so that she would buy a round of drinks. Because a lot of people don't know this, but New York City bars you can walk into and the bartender is allowed to drink with you as long as they don't get themselves shit-faced. And I don't know about you, Tino, but every time I've ever gone into a New York City bar and the bartender starts drinking with us, we get the bartender shit-faced. But, I'll go ahead and tell this story because Fubar loves this story. Fubar walks outside with her and notices that she's wearing an Alabama t-shirt, and she's sitting there and says, hey, do you have a light? And he sits there and lights her cigarette for her, all this good stuff. And then she sits there and she's like, you don't sound like you're from here. And he goes, no, I'm from North Carolina, but I see that you went to Alabama, and one of the guys that's with us went to Alabama, so roll tide, and obviously that's their phrase and everything. And the girl's like, hell yeah. When I get back inside, I'm going to get you guys around. So she comes around, and we had just gotten there. I mean, like 15 minutes before this, right? Mm-hmm. And it's my buddy John's bar that he went to at the time. And she comes up and she goes, all right, I said I was going to get you guys around. And Fubar goes, only if you're drinking with us. And she goes, well, fuck yeah. Why wouldn't I be drinking with you guys? I'm not going to get around for you guys, and I'm not going to take one, Okay, cool.
You get the bartender to drink with you, though.
Well, but in New York, that happens.
It happens. Smashley used to drink with us.
Well, yeah, but we didn't really pay attention to North Carolina laws when we were going to Arnie's or whatever else. I mean, obviously, we had 19-year-old people walking into the bars. But
it's funny because we were reminiscing, like, how many times, like, we like the karaoke's over and we're just sitting around, and next thing you know, the sun's coming up. We're like, what the fuck?
You ain't lying there, bro. So anyway, Fubar gets this girl to come over, and she goes, well, what's everybody want? So, at this point, I'm a Crown Royal drinker, but someone else at the table's like, bring us bourbon. So of course she brings over Maker's Mark, right? And she pours a shot for 7 people at the table, and there's only 6 people at the table. So wait, no, I'm sorry. There's only 5 people at the table. She pours 7 shots. And we're like, but there's only 5 people at the table. And she goes, there's one for me and there's one for me. Right?
That's awesome.
Well, the best part about this, and this is one of the things that in New York City there are no laws. Let's be honest here. Well, it depends on It depends on who's the mayor at the time. But but so anyway, she goes, okay, there's 7 shots, 5 for you guys, 2 for me. Okay, cool. Fubar takes a shot of Maker's Mark, and it goes down, right? And all of a sudden he goes, whoop.
I've never seen Fubar sick.
He goes, whoop, and he's holding it just like this. 2 fingers holding his mouth shut. Now, in New York, the bathrooms for the bar are unisex, right? So there's 2 bathrooms. He bangs on the one door, and he's still got his fingers over. Occupied. He looks at the other one. He puts the other fingers up. Hits the door. Occupied. And he's sitting there. He's like, and he sees another door, right? So he opens up the door, and it's a broom closet.
No.
Hold on. He doesn't do anything there, but he's like, just like that, right? As soon as one of the doors opens up, he just turns and goes, right on the person.
On the Oh,
like hits their feet. You know, it doesn't hit like all this, which is great, but literally hits the feet. And you know, the music's bumping and everything else, and the person's like, and Fubar's like, I'm so sorry. And the person walks out, and they're like, actually, I think what really happened was they turned back around, they locked the door again, and started washing their shoes, right? Then the other door opens, and Fubar goes, and like he doesn't have to throw up anymore. So he just like washes his hands or whatever. And the music is going. And then all of a sudden, like everybody's wondering where Fubar is. We have no idea where he is. We have no idea what's going on. And the door to the broom closet, like the music stops and you just hear everything collapse out of the broom closet. And it's because Fubar's trying to clean up the vomit off the floor. And he's like, because the music stopped. You know, it's kind of like when all of a sudden you say, and her titties were huge, and you're like, you know, like because everything stopped in that moment. And the bartender doesn't skip a beat because she's still got the 1 shot left, and she looks over and goes, "Got to tell you guys, that's the first time anybody's ever tried to clean up their own vomit."
That's awesome.
Now, here, just so you know, Fubar was not sick. This was at the beginning of the night. So you, Tino, you know Fubar, but the people out there don't know him. Fubar is a guy who literally will drink a 24-pack and be able to be like, where are we going next? You know?
Tolerance.
And not even just a high tolerance, but, well, he drinks cheap beer, mostly. But it is kind of funny because he does have a whiskey intolerance. Like his skin will turn red from drinking whiskey.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Well, we think it's an actual allergy, but
like
it never seems to do more than turn his skin red. But yeah. So he sat there and tried to clean up his own vomit, and the bartender was just like, "I got to give it to the kid. He tried to clean it up. That's the first time that's happened." But everybody in the bar looked over to look at him at the time. So it was just one of those moments where you're like, oh God, really?
Can't take Fubar anywhere.
Can't take that guy anywhere. I'm just glad it was him and not someone else. But it's literally because when he swallowed the Maker's Mark, it immediately came back up. And that's why he was able to hold it so long, because it was literally just the Maker's Mark in his mouth again. It wasn't like straight like whole vomit or anything else.
Surprised he didn't just swallow it back down.
You know, funny story, I've done that once where all of a sudden I went whoop, and I held it with one finger, and I was like, and it went back down, and I was like, all right, someone needs to get me a drink. Because I'll tell you, when you're vomiting it doesn't stop. You can't stop it no matter how you can
come off your hands.
It's coming out your nose if it's not coming out your mouth. You know what I mean? Like so like when you just have like that regurgitation feel, you can stop that. Like I do it sometimes when I'm brushing my teeth. All of a sudden it's like you just brush it a little too far back or whatever. It's like, oh, and you're like, and you just keep doing, and all of a sudden it's like, if I just stop everything, it'll go away.
Go away.
Just let it go away. Let it do it. Yeah, exactly. Let it go. Let it go. So, is that all that's going on with you? Like, you hung out with Lee? That's great.
Yeah, hung out with Lee Friday, and then Saturday, me and the boy went to the gym and we shot hoops, and then yesterday, I don't remember what we did on Sunday.
Now did you beat him? I hope you beat him because he's got that bum knee.
I beat him. Yeah. I let him win.
You let him win?
Oh, damn. He's back there. He heard it.
I wouldn't have let him win.
On Saturday, I beat him, and then today he beat me once, and then I came back for him and beat him again.
So Matthew, I believe that you can actually beat your dad playing basketball because I don't believe that your dad actually has a good hoops game.
I beat you today, didn't I?
Well, and then I came back for you.
Yeah, but he's got a bum knee right now, man. Like,
it's his leg. Yeah. That helps him sleep at night.
I mean, he can't do the little juke move that gets around you.
I can.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
What's your go-to move, Matthew?
Like,
get over. You can't see you.
In between the legs.
He likes to bounce between his legs, and the layup is.
Do you go right to left, or you go left to right?
I can do both.
Okay. Now, do you sit there and get kind of cocky with it and sit there and do both for a couple times and then just post up and shoot?
He's not that good yet. He's getting there though.
No, I can do it. I just don't do it.
Oh, okay. It's your bedtime, son. I love you.
Matthew, thanks for being a guest star.
This is what I live with.
So
and I did let him win.
Oh, I bet you think you did. You know what's funny about that is you're sitting there going, I'm gonna let him win, and he's sitting there going, I'm gonna let him think he lets me win.
And then we got him. So when I got him Madden, he gets mad because I can beat him at Madden. And
now see that I would believe.
I've never played it before.
You don't even like try to let him win. I think that's something where it's kind of a level playing field, and in fact he has an advantage because his hand-eye coordination should be better than yours.
Should be.
Well, I'm saying should be, but see that's the funny thing about a game like Madden. Madden's a strategy game, and a lot of people don't look at it as a strategy game. But if you end up figuring out which plays work from one team against another, you can sit there and just like Command and Conquer, destroy the other team's entire base defense. And that's what it is. It's always made me laugh because people are like, why do you like sports games so much? Well, because sports games allow me to have a different outcome every single time I play it. Whereas like a strategy game, as soon as you figure out what you're supposed to do, you just do that. But
and I've never played
any a strategy game.
And usually, you know me, I'm a Call of Duty kind of shoot 'em up guy, and so we got that game. I'm like, and now I'm addicted to it. Like he's not. I'll play it by myself. My wife's like, yeah, I can tell you're addicted. I'm like, it's so cool.
Chris Barrett says, no, Madden is all about stacking your team with the best players to always win. Actually, it's just about stacking it by turning it down to the lowest difficulty level and then being able to always win by 84 points.
Yeah, that's me. Right now, I'm still playing rookie.
Yeah, see, that's just it. Like, I hate turning it up to, like, all pro, which is, like, I think the highest. Well, I think all Madden's the highest level on Madden. But all pro ends up being like way too high, and it's like Why am I even playing this? It's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like, video games are supposed to be fun, right?
Not making me mad and wanting to throw my controller through the TV screen.
Exactly. So I just give up at that point, or I turn the difficulty down. So did I ever tell you about the time that I actually tried to play a real FIFA player in FIFA Soccer, and the guy went up like 6-0 in like the first 5 minutes, and I was so mad because I was like, I'm using all like because I would play Ward and I would beat him like 6-0, right? And Ward was always like, "Hey, Trash, let's go ahead and play another game of FIFA," and I would just destroy him in it. And in fact, back when Xbox had its video thing that you could do, I would actually save all the videos and compile it onto a video where I would show me beating Ward like 6-0, right?
You're an asshole.
So and then some guy ends up playing me, and he goes up 6-0, and I'm sitting there. I'm like getting ready to just hit the cancel button and get out of the game, which will give me bad credit, right? So I'm like, I should probably finish the game out, whatever. So I end up figuring out enough of it to where I score 1 goal against him. The dude actually stops the game and has his players actually like cheering me. And he actually like sent me a message, and he's like, "Hey man, I know that you're like a rookie at this, so great job, because I don't ever give up goals."
Nice. That's
so
awesome.
I was actually like, "Yeah, go me! I did it! Yeah, woo!" You know, because it was like one of those plays where like I kicked it down to one guy, the other guy like flobbed it up to another guy, and then he just smacked it with his head past the goalie, and he was just like, I couldn't stop it. But if you go back and you look at the guy's like win-loss record and how many goals he's given up like 4 goals, and he's won like 200 games, right?
Oh,
and it's like I'll take that as a win, you know. And then he asked me, "Do you just want to forfeit the game and I won't give you bad credit for it?" And I was like, "Yes, please." It's like playing against only jobbers in WWE.
Play WWE 2K. We've had this conversation because I don't like the controllers. I miss the controllers with Raw versus SmackDown.
I will say as far back as WWE No Mercy. No Mercy was the best video game that has ever been made. And it's funny because AEW is talking about actually using the same Ukes team to make their actual wrestling game.
What were the controllers like in No Mercy? Were they like the SmackDown vs. Raw? I don't remember. I don't think I ever played it.
So the No Mercy game was the one where if you pushed up on the one button and just tapped on A, it would do a move. If you held it for like a second, it would do a move. And then if you held it for like 3 seconds, it would do another move.
Right.
So like anybody could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's and I think the first couple the Legends of WrestleMania was the best. I don't know, Chris Barrett. I still go back to No Mercy because it had the ability to create every single wrestler like in the world based on the fact that they had each of their move sets saved as a specific character's move set. So you could create the character like I created the entire NWO and was able to put them into No Mercy as a stable using Hall, Nash, and like Six as who they were, which I thought was awesome. So, I haven't even talked about what went on with me this weekend.
I was going to ask you, how did the Comic-Con go?
So let's go ahead and talk about Carolina Fear Fest happened. So it's funny. I was sitting next to my buddy Billy, who inked, colored, and lettered Junior High Horrors.
Were they letting people out the door? What was the attendance like?
I don't know what the numbers were like.
Were they letting?
So the numbers. So let me put it this way: compared to the first time they did a horror convention at the fairgrounds, it was lighter attendance. Okay. And because they did have restrictions, like
were people masked up.
No, like like we noticed that the first day, if I had to guess, just based on estimates, I would say less than 20% of people had their masks on the first day. And then the second day, I think more people had masks on, but even still, it was extremely light on the masks. And that's because, like North Carolina said, if you're vaccinated, you can do what you want, right? And even me, like Elvira was not there. However, the biggest names there were Ross Marquand from The Walking Dead, who also played Red Skull in Avengers Endgame.
Who did he play in Walking Dead?
He plays one of the characters now. I don't know who it is, but he's actually still. I think he's the guy that lost his hand in the last season.
Got it. Okay.
Okay. So he's still in the show now.
Yeah.
Nick Stahl, who plays the biggest bad guy in Fear the Walking Dead, was there. And he also played John Connor in Terminator 3.
Okay.
Remember the movie The Crow?
Yep.
Remember how it had the guy from the Three Musketeers in it as the bad guy?
It's been so long since I've seen The Crow.
The guy that always sounds like this when he talks, but he could really use a sword.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Well, there was a hot Asian chick that ate like eyeballs in that movie. She was at it.
Okay.
And she looks exactly the same. Like 20 years later, she looks exactly the same.
Wow.
You know how it is with movie star Asian women. Tia Carrere still looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, heck, I just watched the Friends reunion, and I was amazed that 5 of the 6 Friends look exactly the same way that they did. Well, I say 5 of the 6, but it's really 4 of the 6. Chandler's hair, like has definitely he still has enough to where in the pictures it looks all right. But when they were actually like moving around and everything, you could see that there was a cul-de-sac and everything else going on.
Yeah.
Still, he's still rich, so you know, like
that's all that matters. Man.
Yeah, exactly. So, so it was an all no names there. Bai Ling, yes, Bai Ling. Well, Chris Barrett. I was trying to say it so that Tino would understand who I was talking about. But Ross Marquand was there, and Rob Mello was there. Now, the Rob Mello being there is what I want to talk about because I was on 2 panels while I was there, right? So I was speaking on 2 panels. The first one was horror in different mediums. So being able to talk about how I write horror in comics was one of the things that I was there. Yes, I know it's Bai Ling. Bai Ling. Anyways, so one of them was all about talking about just Chris Barrett's still talking. I mean, Chandler looks probably better now than I don't know. He looks like a guy that did take pain pills back in the 90s now. So not quite like so one of the other big stars that was there this time was Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. And,
with the glasses.
What's that?
To do with the glasses, right? That's Xander?
No, you're talking about Giles.
Xander
was the one that I think ended up going after the girl from How I Met Your Mother.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Willow, I guess is what her name was on Buffy. But he looked rough. Like he looked older than Giles did when the show actually was on the air. Like he had a cane and he was like walking rough and everything. Yeah, it was. Oh my God. You don't remember season 1? No, are we talking about so Chris Barrett? I have to ask: are we talking about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Mac was fat, or are we? Because then Mac got skinny again, and at this point, Rob McElhaney is very skinny. But so let me just finish the story. So the second panel I was on was horror and comedy, and I was on it. It was me, and it was the bad guy from Happy Death Day. So his name is Rob Mello. So the actor who played the bad guy in that movie, we're on a panel together. And when the panel started, like before we even started the whole thing, Rob Mello's sitting there and he's like, and he looks over and he goes, "Hey man, I just want to let you know, if I seem a little off, I ran out of rum last night."
Oh no. Was he hungover?
And I look at him and I go, well, "That's okay, because I ran out of I ran out of bourbon." Right? And I'm like, I ran out of bourbon. And he looks at me and goes, "Do we hug now?" I was like, "We can hug now." And we got up and we gave each other a hug, like right there, right? So this is like, I'd never met the guy before. And Tino, after that moment, the two of us acted like we had known each other for 30 years.
That's awesome.
Like he sat there and he was, because we're both named Rob, the first thing I looked at while the panel host is doing their bit where they're like, "If you have a question, go ahead and just put your hand up. We'll go ahead and we'll stop. After they're done answering the question, we'll go ahead and we'll take your question." And then I looked over and I go, "Just so everybody remembers, we're both named Rob. So if you have a question for him, make sure you," and he goes, "Make sure you mention the good-looking one." Right?
Oh.
And I go, "I was just going to say the one that's got hair." and he looks at me, he's like, "Good one, man." And gives me a fist bump and everything else. So the two of us, for like that entire time, there were a couple times where he sat there and he goes, "Shit, dude, that was a good fucking answer. All right."
That's awesome.
And I'm like, "Yeah, nobody here knows who I am. You know who this guy is because, well, he wore a big baby's face in his movie." So again, he's sitting there ribbing on me, I'm ribbing on him, and it's a good time. It was a lot of fun, and it worked out because by the end of the show, he grabs a copy of my comic and he says, "Hey, why haven't you done me in your comic yet?" And blah blah blah, and I'm sitting there going, "Well, that might happen." So yeah, it was a good time. Wait. Chris Barrett says, "No, in season 6 of Friends, Chandler was addicted to Vicodin and was overweight. Then before season 7, he went to rehab and lost it." So I'm assuming that wasn't actually in the show. But regardless. So Tino, to answer your question, we didn't exactly like our spot at the show. It was a really rough spot to be in to try to sell stuff, but we had a really good show. Like, what was nice about it was where that panel happened, when everybody's like, "Hey, where can I go to actually go talk to you guys and everything else?" I was like, "We're right outside the door." But the door was blocked off for most of the weekend, so you had to go around and then come out the other door to actually get to and from the panels. But I was like, if you walk out that door right there and just keep walking straight, you will see us. And that ended up helping. And then we joked that we didn't really expect to do a lot of business just because we didn't feel like traffic was very good, but traffic wasn't bad, and I don't want to I don't want to sit there and make it sound like it was a bad show. It was a great show for us, because anytime I get to walk into a panel room and there's a full group of people and I get to tell them about my book, people come up and they talk to us and they buy something, right? And that's what happened. Like Sunday, Sunday in North Carolina, between 10 and 12, everybody's at church,
yep.
Right? And then it's a holiday weekend, so everybody's at the beach, so you don't expect great turnaround. Sure. But I did more business on Sunday than I did on Saturday.
Really?
Yes. And then on top of that, I want to go ahead and no, Chandler wasn't House, the actor who played Chandler. Yes, I believe I agree with that Matthew Perry had a problem, and a lot of people in Hollywood do because they've got a lot going on. They can't handle the stress, and they figure out a way to go about it. Very similar to the wrestling world, right? So, but the show was really good for us. I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping they have us back again because we've just had a really good time the past 2 times that they've done it. But during the show, I will go ahead and say one of the things I'm really proud of is that the preliminary orders for Junior High Horror's Return of the Walking Flu came in.
Okay.
What are you saying?
I burped. Sorry.
So the preliminary orders for the Junior High Horrors Return of the Walking Flu came in, and they're already better than Strangest Thingies.
Really?
Yes. Now, this is what I want to point out to you, Tino. Junior High Horrors has been around since 2018, right?
Why has it been that long?
Yeah. Well, 2020 didn't really happen, right? So
yeah.
So let's say it's really been 2 years, but yes, it's been out. It's been coming out for 3 years now. September 2018 was the first issue that came out. This is what I want to point out: is that comic books don't have inclining trajectory of issues. So when you order one issue and then you order the next issue, it normally goes like this.
Why?
Because over time, people stop picking up the book. And I don't know what the real reason is or anything else. But like, for example, a new number one will come out at like 3,000 copies, or let's say Marvel, 50,000 copies, right? The number two, because they don't have data on how well that number one sold, they'll only order 25,000 copies. So you might see a 50% drop on that. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just like movies in the movie theater. Like you've seen it where the first Friday that a movie's out, it does $60 million. And then the very next week it does like $8 million.
Because another movie comes out though, right?
Well, yes. And I mean, comic books do the same thing. There's new comics every week.
Okay.
So to have Return of the Walking Flu come in at a higher number than Strangest Thingies, which came in at a higher number than the April special, the April Fool special, means that we're actually gaining viewers of our book. And this is, like I said, it's preliminary orders, and they're already better. So the numbers could actually increase considerably more, which would be awesome. I just want to sit there and say, if anybody's ever picked up a Junior High Horrors book and actually bought it, Tino. I
got one coming in July, bitch. And we bought some when we went to the Ultimate Comics. Son of a bitch. I'll burn all them bitches.
Well, you can burn all you want. Just make sure you buy more.
No.
But no, seriously, to anybody that has ever bought the book, it is very humbling to know that we are on a positive trajectory of more sales.
So when's the movie come out?
That is the question, is it not?
I either want to be in the movie or I'm being the soundtrack. One of the two.
So I do want to point out that somebody at the show this weekend was actually saying, hey, if you need somebody to try to do like a animated short or something for it, that's what I went to school for. And I was like,
that'd be cool.
I'm totally down if somebody wants to sit there and create an animated short of one of the quick stories or one of the, like 5 pages of the book or whatever, just to sit there and say, this is what it could look like. And I was like, if you come up with something and I post it on Instagram and it goes viral or anything like that, then, you'll get all the credit for it. So we'll see. We'll see if that actually happens and somebody does something with it. But yeah, so that was, I mean, and then today I finished, so the book is ready to go to print. We got, hold on. We got a special guest, Tino.
Is he here?
And he's holding up Junior High Horrors number 3, The Walking Flu.
How's that out?
Which, by the way, is the prequel to the issue coming out in July, Return of the Walking Flu. Terrence, a.k.a. Tequila. I can't read what it says. Tequila what?
Tequila Tea.
Tequila Tea. That's who he is. Tino, you might have to slide over a little bit.
That is my name on the Villains Environmental VCW podcast.
Thank you.
All right. So all right. Tino, do we need to do a GameStop story of the week? Because I feel like we've told some funny stories already.
I don't know. I don't know. I like the GameStop stories. If you don't want to do one, we don't have to. See, T likes them too.
Well, I think at this point we're already at 9:15. We should probably get into pro wrestling.
Oh, okay. You're the first. This is the first time you want to try to stick on a time schedule, but
Well, no, I don't mind how long we talk about wrestling, but we're going to talk about AEW Double or Nothing for a little while.
All right. Well, let's get in it then.
So, all right. So we're going to pass on the GameStop story of the week this week, folks. I apologize, but if you listen back, you'll at least hear a great story about our friend Fubar throwing up in a New York City bar.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have any Velveteen Dream. Why does it say Velveteen Dream drop by? Hold on. AEW Double or Nothing. Let's go ahead and update that. AEW Double or Nothing. I spelled double wrong.
Hey, who's that? That page? The light's hitting.
No. Let me get a light on it.
China.
Yep.
Is it the One Night in China?
No.
Edition?
Robert.
No, Robert.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with NXT. Tino, you understand we are not allowed to talk about Cameron Grimes until the end.
CT, this is like me. It's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the show. But okay,
he is my favorite part of NXT right now. Honestly.
Okay. All right.
So
we'll save Cameron for later.
So go ahead. What were your other favorite moments of NXT? Really, come on. Karrion Kross retained the NXT.
That was a damn good. It was a good match.
It was a good match. But you knew it was gonna happen.
Phenomenal match.
You knew that was going to happen, though. You knew Finn wasn't coming back.
But it was a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
So that was a highlight of the episode. All right, now you can go ahead and talk about the only other thing that really mattered on the entire show. And that was
Ted DiBiase came out. He didn't let Cameron got in the ring and he didn't say two words, and then Ted's music hit, and Cameron
but they complimented each other.
And it was almost like that Cameron, like he was getting ready to go face, because he wasn't. He was like, Ted, I just want to be like you. You're just my idol. I mean, he was sincere, and then LA Knight came out and ruined everything. So why?
That was definitely a face turn.
Yeah, and I think that's because he's going against LA Knight now. But I'm wondering, LA Knight and Ted kind of left together, so I wonder if LA Knight's going to be under Ted. Because LA Knight needs something. If he was still Eli Drake, he'd be good. But I'm not feeling that LA Knight.
Well, luckily he's in NXT, so he can build that LA Knight up to be what it needs to be, right? But I would anticipate what we will see is Ted DiBiase will put together a $1 million challenge for the $1 million title between these two. And Cameron Grimes, being the babyface, will probably get screwed out of winning that title, or he'll have to buy the title from Eli Drake.
You know, I agree with you.
It'd be funny if Cameron got his own Virgil.
So it's funny you say that, Tino. I don't know if that'll happen, but I almost wonder if Eli Drake will sit there and say, "You got to sell it to me for all the money that you made from GameStop."
Oh man,
the name LA Knight sounds like Triple H looked at his old school sneaker collection and saw some LA Gears and some British Knights and said, LA Knight, we got you.
I bet what happened, T, and you may be right, but I bet what happened was they went, all right, Eli, we're going back to actually we want to own the licensing and everything else. So what name do you think is good? Because we've got a list, and you can give us your list, but otherwise we're going to pick from our list, and that's who you're going to be, because you already signed on the dotted line saying that you understand working for the WWE. This is the way that this works.
Yeah, possible.
Chris Barrett says, I was expecting to see Ted put Cameron Grimes in the $1 Million Dream. I was not.
I wonder if Cameron will start using the $1 Million Dream, but he'll call it To the Moon.
I know who your new Virgil is, Chris Barrett. I see what you said. Imagine LA Knight.
Chris Barrett is not going to be the new Virgil.
No. I know who the new Virgil is going to be if they do it, and I hate to say this. It'll be Leon Ruff. What else are you going to do with him?
Oh,
God, I hope not.
No.
But what else are you going to do with him? Unless you're going to make him keep him in a feud with the Hit Row, which I do like Hit Row. I like Hit Row.
They might he might get because he's shown a meaner side. You never know. He might end up in Hit Row. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I could see him doing if you can't beat them, join them.
Yep.
And actually, and like joining them because he loses a match and has to join them. So they lead him into like being the guy that's got to clean up for him and everything else. And then all of a sudden, like when he has the opportunity to leave, he sits there and goes, no, these are my boys. I'm with them for life. And maybe even bring it back the old. No, for life.
I forgot about Taya Valkyrie, the Frankie Monet. That was a good match too. I think I like what they're doing with her.
I'm not sold on it. I love the dog,
but you notice she's still doing a lot of her Taya Valkyrie stick, and I like that she did the glam slam, and Beth Phoenix and goes, "Oh, that move looks familiar."
Well, and that's perfectly fine, right? That also means that she talked to Beth backstage and cleared it, right?
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know if that's necessarily because a lot of people do that. That's the Botox injection that Angelina Love uses. I think that's the same move that Kong used to use.
It's basically the Samoan drop.
No, but when you drop them on your face, you hold them up and then you drop them on your face. That's not a Beth Phoenix move. You know what I mean? Like the stunner, that was Steve's moves, and that's why I'm sure he gave Kevin permission to use it. But that glam slam's been used by everybody. Well,
sure. I mean, look at AEW Double or Nothing to just see how many people can drop a cutter real quick, right?
Yeah.
Or a super kick, if you will.
Yeah.
Those two moves are so great, but it sucks that they have been made to not be finishers. I get it. I understand it.
Hold on, though. Isn't it interesting that Randy Orton can still finish a match like that with that same cutter that everybody else uses and no one else can?
And we got to talk about that, too, when we get to Raw.
Yeah, but it's the same thing that's happened to the DDT. The same thing that happened to the powerbomb. Now, the sad thing about it is the powerbomb, the stunner, the powerbomb cutter, and the super kicks. I feel like it's worse than the DDT because all of those are power moves. Like no matter what, like those are believable. Have you ever actually been DDT by accident, like play wrestling and really felt that shit? It's not a good feeling. I get it. I probably could kick out, but I see why it's a finishing move. But so many people have used it since then.
Now I want to point out that Chris Barrett sits there and says that the stunner wasn't even Stone Cold's; it was Johnny Ace's. Actually, it was true. It was actually Michael P.S. Hayes's.
Ooh, they taught it to Stone Cold.
Correct. So
and to be fair, full circle, I was actually watching some old Stone Cold videos the day before this. His stunner got better with time because when he first did it,
totally. So his first one against Savio Vega, when he did it, there was no kick to the stomach. It was the kick to the stomach, then the stunner that actually sold that move. And if you notice, Kevin Owens is getting better with it, but people still aren't selling it correctly because they're not made to sell it correctly right now.
And the kick to the stomach was Stone Cold's part because he said he wanted something for the people to know what was coming. Just like Snake would hit that short arm clothesline and he'd do this. Stone Cold wanted a signal for the fans to know that the stunner's coming, and that's when he came up with the kick to the stomach.
Well, it's the same thing as Drew McIntyre. 3, 2, 1. You know the Claymore's coming, right?
And Randy Orton found in the net.
And I love all of those, but
but hold on, better. Randy Orton does not have to do that.
This is true.
That's why it's from out of nowhere. Yeah. And in fact, all the ones that we sit there and go are the greatest RKOs of all time have not had the stomp beforehand or whatever.
I think the best one is when at WrestleMania, where Seth went to do the curve stomp and he popped up and hit him.
Well,
that's the best one.
Seth actually hit his head and he pushed him off and then popped him with it. Actually, the best one was still the Evan Bourne one. Let's be real.
I forgot about it.
Because he hit it with almost no time left and just like nailed it right at the end.
Or when AJ was coming up with a phenomenal forearm and he caught him.
So Chris Barrett's absolutely right.
He called Rey Mysterio
with
too.
the tuning up the band. In fact, my favorite tuning up of the band isn't even HBK. It was when Dude Love used to use the sweet shin music because he knew he couldn't do a super kick, and he would sit there and he would tune up the band, and then as soon as he tuned up the band, he would just kick him right in the shin, and it still didn't win the match. But
to be fair,
for it every time.
To be fair, but all of these, we love them. That's why we love them. That's what made the stunner more believable. Because even if it was a signature, a kick to the stomach will fuck you up before you kick the floor and let people know you're coming. Even if I know the stunner's coming after the kick, you already kicked me in my stomach. What can I do? If I hear the boom, boom, don't get up.
What I always love about the stunner was that Steve didn't always know where he was kicking. and they talked about how many times he kicked McMahon in the balls, like during his A&E special.
Well, he used to because those jean shorts were so tight he couldn't get his leg up. He just kicked him in the nuts.
And I mean, even when he kicked Byron Saxton last year, when there was no crowd in there, and he gave him the stunner, he kicked Byron right in the balls. And that's just what makes it even funnier.
Can't get them legs up high anymore.
What's that?
Can't get them legs up high anymore. Just got okay.
So all right. So NXT I thought was a really solid show last week.
Yeah.
Obviously headlined by the Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor main event, which again I think was the passing of the torch in NXT so that Finn Balor can return to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Don't know which one he's going to go to. I would prefer SmackDown, but I have a feeling it's going to be Monday Night Raw because now they're saying there's a lack of baby faces on Monday Night Raw, which means Finn Balor going to Monday Night Raw would make a lot of sense.
There is.
Well, there's a lack of talent.
Finn's more like a tweener, though. Is Finn a baby face?
He's a tweener, but even then, there's a lack of that on Raw. We've had discussion on Villains Vinyl. I'm not trying to plug us, but we was talking about this earlier. There is really
you go plugging those shows on my
I really wasn't.
I'll mute you. I'll mute you right now.
That was good. No, we just a crew. We was talking about this exact thing. There really are crews like besides Drew, and they even just had to push Kofi out of a tag team. Who are your biggest baby faces on Raw? You can't put Riddle there right now
because I think he's got heel tendencies going on right now.
Exactly.
Well, see, and here's what I think there. I think that out of that tag team, the best opportunity is to push Riddle as the heel and have Randy become the surprise babyface out of that group, because Randy can play either. Even though he doesn't play a great baby face all the time, there's still people are still going to cheer him. I mean, he's still a good-looking dude that has the physique, and he makes everything look so goddamn easy.
But here's the thing, though. They've got so many people that they could make kill, but they keep wanting to recycle the same people over and over.
But here's the thing. Yeah, y'all about to say, why make them heel? We need faces.
I'm sorry, make them face.
Yeah, I got you.
They got 3 hours, but we talk about this, Rob, on this show. They got 3 hours, but they use the same people over and over and over again.
And here's the thing. They're developing two faces right now, but they're facing them against one monster heel. They got Sheamus going against Humberto and Ricochet. But you got them two faces against one heel. Ricochet should have been, even if he's not on championship level, because I know he can't cut a promo. That's his weakness. Let's be honest. But other than that, he's a phenomenal talent. He should still at least be in U.S. title contendency or intercontinental contendency right now. He should not be.
Based on what you just said there, T, I'll go ahead and say Chris Benoit could not cut a promo.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
so it's not that you can't push somebody based on their wrestling talent. Shinsuke Nakamura has a hard time with an American English promo. But
They need to push the most underrated talent, one of the most underrated talents on Raw right now that they push. He could be at least upper mid card, if not main event, is Xavier Woods. And I'm going to say that right now.
Oh, that match on Monday. No, we're not talking about that right now. We're not talking about that now, right?
On him, Xavier Woods could do it.
Are you saying you already watched the match on Monday, T? You know you can't come on our show and already watching someone in
He's talking about last Monday or this Monday?
He's talking about this Monday. He's talking about he's talking about he already watched.
No, I'm talking about last Monday. I'm talking about last Monday, him versus Riddle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That match was phenomenal. I actually was looking online and like looking at different sites and just watching the comments, and I was the only one. Like we actually, like a lot of folks saying like, "Whoa, that not just Riddle. Those two put on a great match." And I knew Xavier could wrestle, but I forgot Xavier could wrestle. That was a damn good match.
And he's good on the mic.
So
push him.
Okay, so here's the deal. Tino, you've been on our wrestling group for as long as it's been around. The fact is that we all know that Xavier Woods has the ability to speak on the mic because, well, he's getting ready to have a G4 show, right? On top of that, we know that he has wrestling talent. He was Consequences Creed, and he was constantly going after the X Division title when he looked like Apollo Creed. The fact is that he's 197 pounds, guys. And in Vince McMahon's eyes, that is never going to make you the world champion. Now, I'm not saying he can't be it. I'm not saying he shouldn't be it. What I'm saying is overall, his ability, like he has all the ability in the world. And I'll tell you, I don't expect him to leave the WWE. Now, could he? The answer is yes. In fact, if anybody were to leave and have more marketability than almost anybody else, it would be Xavier Woods because he's already a mainstream talent as Austin Creed.
Yeah.
Right? So as who he really is, he has more credit outside the world. And in fact, he'd have an instant moment against Kenny Omega. The thing is that do you want to sit there and say Kenny Omega should face Austin Creed for the world title in AEW when he's never faced off for the world title in WWE? The answer is no. The answer is no.
Okay, what about Shelton Benjamin? Shelton Benjamin still got a lot in the tank. He can go.
Hold on.
Again, you're right.
Again, do you want to sit there and say Shelton Benjamin? And Shelton Benjamin did make a name for himself in New Japan and Ring of Honor for a while. He was working with Charlie Haas. The thing is that when he came back, he knew what his role was going to be. You're going to make $300,000 here to sit there and basically afford your family, do everything that you want, and you're going to be in a mid to top tier tag team in the WWE on Monday.
What I'm saying, they could push Shelton.
Guess what? Like you said, they could push Shelton. You know why? Whoever thought Jinder Mahal would get a WWE title championship opportunity, and even if you know it was because they was going over to India.
Exactly what T just said.
This guy, and here's why: because WWE is making a huge push into India, which means they need Indian superstars to be champions. Now, Brandon, hold on.
If they push into India, then he had a shot.
You're gonna get me to mute you now.
I'm the co-host. You can't mute me.
Oh, I can. I still have the ability to do it, but
I bring energy. Yeah.
But here's the thing. When you're making $1 billion over 5 years because people in India want to see pro wrestling, you're going to push an Indian superstar like Mansoor.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, if they didn't have that India push, would they have pushed him?
You know, it's just my point. It's just my point. They can decide to push whoever whenever they want to.
BS. Rey
Exactly.
Mysterio was the heavyweight champion at like 155. Hold on. You're talking about at a time where the WWE absolutely looked at who was the highest merchandise selling superstars out there and had two different champions, which meant John Cena, right? John Cena and Rey Mysterio didn't just have shirt sales, he had mask sales. So his merchandise numbers were higher than everybody else's. That means, yes, he should be world champion. When you look when you look at Xavier Woods, here's the thing. Xavier Woods in WWE has never been over as Xavier Woods. He's been over as a part of the New Day. Now, part of that, and the main part of that, and this is self-inflicted pain. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, and Big E all wanted to stay together. Okay. The WWE, every time they make a draft, tries to split them up.
But they did it anyway.
They did it this time, and who was the one person that gave the negative reaction on TV?
Big E?
No.
Oh, Xavier.
Xavier. Now, Kofi Kingston was on Busted Open Radio not too long ago, and he said, hey, we weren't happy about it. We didn't like it. We thought that it was probably going to hurt us. But now, a year later, looking at what it did for E, it did everything he needed it to do for him. At the same time, we both sucked it up, ate our crow, did what we needed to, became 11-time tag team champions, and now, because this was last Monday, I've got to win against Bob Lashley. And I love how he calls him Bob instead of Bobby. But that's Kofi. Notice that's Kofi sitting there being the one that gets the mic time on radio shows outside of the WWE. Who did not? Xavier Woods.
But right? It goes back to their first New Day promo when he was recruiting him. He was trying to make him a Malcolm X character. So it makes sense to me.
It's not just that, Steve. You're right.
No, I'm being funny. I'm just being funny.
No, but you're right. But the other part of it is that Woods is also the one that was in the Page scandal. Woods is also the one that went out when the WWE said you can't do all this other stuff outside and signed a deal to be a host under his own moniker for G4. So don't expect.
He's also from TNA.
What's that?
He's also from TNA. He's not WWE homegrown.
Well, but as Xavier Woods, he is.
They still have a bad taste for certain TNA folks.
Now, you guys should just be glad that Xavier Woods hasn't been sent to 205 Live.
I wish he was sometimes.
I would love to see him wrestle on that show, but not be relegated to it. I like the fact that he is on Monday Night Raw. I like the fact that Kofi still works with him on a weekly basis. But if you notice, Kofi's suddenly getting pushed again as a singles, which kind of leaves Woods out in the woods.
Good one.
Good one.
I like that.
That was good.
And I'm gonna end this on something confrontational. I was gonna say earlier, if Kofi won the championship, which I'm glad for and happy, it was a moment. Shelton should have won it before him. Shelton's just as tenured to me as Kofi. And I mean, that's just my opinion. Right
now, Shelton is one of the most talented individuals in the WWE. And everyone sits there and says that. Everyone talks about it. Everyone knows that when Bobby Lashley got in his face, he straight up picked him up and threw him to the ground. Because Shelton Benjamin is a shooter. Okay? He is
messed it up.
He is like Jake Hager, a legit shooter that can beat the shit out of you in real life. Like if you gave me the entire WWE roster and you said pick 3 guys that you want to be by you if you get into a bar fight, Shelton Benjamin's one of those 3 guys.
Oh yeah.
Now the other 2, Bobby Lashley's probably one of them because I mean he's a legit fighter too at this point and an Army Ranger. But the third one would be an interesting choice. And you know, I'll leave it to the comments. I'll leave it to the comments. Let's see who comes. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. No, I'm kidding.
So you say if you was in a bar fight, you would take 2 of the Hurt Business. You'll take Lashley, you'll take Shelton Benjamin, and then you leave a third to the comments.
Ron Simmons. Damn.
Actually, Bradshaw would probably be the third one I would take, but
you wouldn't take Ron?
I don't know, man. Look, that's just anti-racism on my part.
Honestly, I'd take Sheamus and Drew.
Tank Abbott.
So
I take Sheamus and Drew.
Sheamus got beat up by Yoshitatsu. So
I don't mean nothing.
So I wouldn't take Sheamus.
Every fighter take a loss sometimes, but I know if I'm at a bar fight, at least I got somebody big on my side. I'm sure.
Well, so I don't think I'd take Sheamus. Not saying I wouldn't. Just saying he wouldn't be one of my first choices.
I got you.
You know, interestingly enough, Daniel Bryan might be another choice I would take.
I see it though.
Dude stopped the home invasion.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally took down a home invader and like beat the shit out of him before the cops showed up. And he's like 5'7".
The Napoleon complex.
Exactly.
I feel you on that one.
Exactly. And I'd be bigger than him, so I'd be like, go get him.
Take the boogie.
Actually, I take Gable for that. I would take Gable.
Who? Gable?
Chad Gable.
Ooh, you know, Chad Gable be another good choice there.
Because as soon as somebody would swing on him, he duck and just suplex him.
Art Gunn.
Mark Henry.
Ooh, are we going old school? Undertaker and Godfather.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
So anyways.
Bruiser Brody.
We yeah.
Ooh, I love that, Chris Barrett.
While he could still walk.
I like that, Chris. That's dope.
You know, Riddle would make a smart.
That's dope.
But I would say Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Matt Riddle would be 3 great guys to have standing behind your back when you sit there and start talking shit and want to take someone's lady home.
Now, Chris Barrett, are we getting debut Olympic champion Kurt Angle, or are we getting Wrestling Machine ECW Kurt Angle?
You know what? I'd take today's Kurt Angle, who you know can't figure out whether or not he's going to have a drink before he goes home and everything else. I'm just what?
Raven.
No.
Why are we forgetting Mick Foley?
Mick Foley isn't a fighter, dude. He's a professional wrestler. Okay.
He would take hits for us. He would be a decoy. Go get him.
That doesn't mean I want him on the team. Like Chris Barrett's got 3 guys right there that he just posted that he's absolutely right. If we were to get into a bar fight, those would be 3 guys you'd want on your side.
You wouldn't take Steve Austin? I think he'd be good in a fight.
I think Steve Austin would just sit there and say, you guys go ahead and do whatever the hell you want. I'll buy the drinks when you're done.
Until somebody accidentally hit him.
Well, yeah, as soon as one of those hit him in the back of the head. Although I'll tell you, like I would say,
I'd take one. I'd take one, and he's no longer with us. New Jack.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
I wouldn't take him because I knew I was getting into the fight that night. No,
you guys not going with me.
You're catching a charge that night.
You guys think he's resting and in peace? That dude's fighting wherever he is. like he got to the pearly gates. Let's just say he was going to heaven. St. Peter's sitting there saying, "Sorry, New Jack, you can't get in." He's like trying to climb the fence, trying to get in.
No, New Jack was done damn. He shanked him. Yes, motherfucker, I am. Got him. Got robbed. I got robbed.
You popped me. You popped me. I'm taking 2003.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking, Chris. I hated to say it. Thank you for saying it for me.
Chris Barrett, I'm amazed that made it past YouTube's censorship program. But
please forgive me, Kurt Angle.
You're watching us right now.
Please forgive me, Kurt Angle. But yeah, mouthpiece Kurt Angle. Yeah.
All right. So we talked about NXT.
The bruiserweight.
What? Oh, the bruiserweight?
I take the bruiserweight.
I'll tell you right now, dude. He was on. So you guys know I listen to Busted Open, and yes, I'll give another plug to them.
You've already mentioned it 5 times this show.
But they ought to pay us at this point. Dave LaGreca, fucking pay us for sitting there talking about your shit. But he was on this week, and he was amazing to listen to because he's so humble. And yeah,
that he did the sit down last week, or was it the week before when he did that sit down?
But when he was on oh man, we're missing Jimmy Smith's first Monday Night Raw this week. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna watch it too. But when Pete Dunne was on Busted Open, he was talking about how like people always talk about how he makes it look as hurtful as possible, right? So when he grabs the fingers and stuff, and he said that goes back to the days when he would be in a bar wrestling in the UK and having to sit there and make it look as painful as possible so more people would look to see what was going on, because there'd be like 20 people in the bar and he's sitting there having a wrestling match, and he's like, well, if no one's going to buy me a drink, I'm going to sit there and start like breaking fingers, right? So he'd just sit there and grab people and just start. And now it's gotten to the point where people are like, they ought to have matches where it's like him versus somebody else just doing that kind of stuff. So, of course, we talk about Thatcher and we talk about
him and Thatcher, yeah.
And all of a sudden people have actually said, I should do that with Shayna Baszler.
I was about to say Shayna Baszler she's a female version of that.
Well, and that's so she's on Raw doing that stuff, and Pete's on NXT, and you know, you and I have sat there and said like that night that they did the NXT or the women's tag team championship, that they did the exact same thing between the two, like when Baszler was wrestling against Dakota Kai, she was sitting there like grabbing the finger and doing all that stuff, and I was like, didn't we just see this with Pete Dunne? And you were like, yeah, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
and now you look back and you're like, it really would be cool to see Shayna Baszler versus Pete Dunne. I mean, Pete Dunne can work in either the men's or women's division at this point, right?
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Boo, Rob, boo.
No,
Rob, when I see you, I'm
wearing Mae Young's outfit.
T, next time just T just spitting his drink next time. That's boo.
No. I'm gonna pull a hamstring just to get a high Kevin Nash kick to the face. I want to
go ahead and give Chris Barrett the credit that's due here.
I saw that. No.
You know who I don't want in a bar fight? Shawn Michaels. And I love how in the A&E biography they talk about this, and they talk about how like they've got Triple H speaking about it, and Triple H is the guy that doesn't drink, and Triple H is like, well, you know how it was.
He said, no, they wanted to tell when it happened.
Shawn would go into a bar, and there'd be a bunch of sailors that just got off the boat, and their girls would be there, and their girls saw Shawn in Playgirl or whatever, and because of that, well, it just caused an issue, and well, there was that one time that Shawn walked out by himself before all the guys walked out with him. And by the time the guys got outside, Shawn already had 2 black eyes.
Shawn's...
And you know that Shawn probably sat there and said, Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting there saying, hey, I'll buy your shit. Let's forget about it.
Don't get mad because your girl's looking at me. That's exactly
what happened. And then he got his ass whooped. That's look. That'd be the whole thing. And then he got his ass whooped. You know, like on Chappelle's show, he's just like, when keeping it real goes wrong.
Real goes wrong.
That's a skit they should have on WWE.
They would have just shown Shawn Michaels getting lawn darted against by a bunch of sailors.
Hey, Tino, I like that. That should be the Street Profits' next gimmick.
And then he got his ass
keeping it real goes wrong.
Yes, when keeping it real goes wrong, or even split when they have a split, whatever. Montez, when keeping it real goes wrong, should be a skit for one of them. Every episode, somebody do something stupid or just overreact and get their ass beat.
Chris Barrett says that he'd rather have X-Pac in a bar fight over Shawn Michaels. I don't know if I would want that because X-Pac's asshole might split open during it. But
no, that's Nia. Mahoo!
Yeah, no. X-Pac's almost died because he did the Bronco Buster the one time. So, and you know, in a bar they would have just left him on the ground instead of calling the ambulance. So. Anyways, let's try to get back on some topic.
Well, that's why I tried to. That's why I brought up the Street Profits. I tried to bring you back to SmackDown. I was trying to swing you in there.
SmackDown had the Usos face off against the Street Profits, and the Usos won the match, which kind of surprised me a little bit. I kind of thought there'd be a little bit of dissension or whatever, but no, they get the.
I think this is coming week when they go for the titles. I think that's when hell's going to break loose.
Well, when they went backstage to talk to Adam Pearce, they looked like they were cohesive while Jimmy's sitting there saying, hey, give us our shot and everything else. And Adam Pearce is like.
That was until Roman talked to Jimmy. Or excuse me, Jay.
Well, except as said his thing. When Jimmy walked off, Jay was like, oh. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, once again, dude still hasn't sat there and said, hey, bro, as long as you've been gone, I've been a main eventer here. I don't need you no more.
He didn't have to. Roman said that later on in the evening when they were sitting in the room, he's like, hey. He said, you've been with me. You're main event Jay Uso now. He goes, I just don't want you to go back to which twin are you?
And you just did that, proved his point. Even though I hate to admit that, because I think honestly that's why this is a good storyline, because I have never got invested where I say so much. And excuse me if there's some kids watching this. Jay Uso's a bitch. So get that out the way.
Bitch.
Huh? What'd you say, Rob?
I said he's wearing a shirt that says "No one's bitch."
No, that's Jimmy.
That's Jimmy. You're right, but still, one of them is wearing the shirt on live network television. Like, in fact,
that's
the only thing that would be better at this point.
Fox is trying to get them more views.
Well, the only thing that would make it better at this point is if all of a sudden he came out to Metallica's "Ain't My Bitch."
No, like I said, it's a dope storyline because I know it's a storyline. I never get mad at characters, and I'm actually sitting there mad every time I see Jay Uso. Like, you mother, it's like, come on, dog, you little bitch right now. Like, I get mad. Like, if I saw him, I'll be upset at myself for really getting mad if I saw him in public. Because if I call him a bitch in public, he have every right to beat my ass because it's damn real. It's not real.
So the main thing that causes someone from the something that causes anyone from the Samoan dynasty to not accept what everyone else is saying is the fact that the high council of the Samoan dynasty, so Afa, Sika, we haven't heard Rikishi at this point. And I said as soon as Jay actually joined Roman, Rikishi should have been the one that comes back and sits there and says, "You're not my tribal chief," even though my dad and my brother both say that you are. I'm on that high council too, and I say that you're not. Like, I think we still have an angle there that we're able to sit there and utilize with the fact that Rikishi still has not yet come out and said that Roman is his chief. Right?
Well, they might be saving that though. You're right.
Well,
that's an angle that they could use. They might be holding it off.
Well, you know how we do on the Potsy and Tino show, Tino. You know that we call out angles before WWE even thinks them.
We should be on the too.
Let me go back to the very first episode of the Potsy and Tino show, where Potsy sat there and said that Seth Rollins was going to show up on NXT and beat down Triple H.
Please put up Chris Barrett's last post. Boo, Chris Barrett. Boo.
Actually, I want to go ahead and Chris Barrett. I love you, brother, but that statement kind of hurts me, and here's why: because coming back from San Diego Comic-Con 2 years ago, I was on a plane with Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler was coming into town for Raleigh SuperCon, and during the Raleigh SuperCon was when he found out that Brian Christopher had passed away. So like I said, I love you and all, but we're gonna pull that one down, only because it's a little bit rough, and having met Jerry Lawler between San Diego and Raleigh, that's one that hits a little bit close to home, because he had to call the show short. So puppies. So all right, Tino says he hasn't gotten to watch the whole thing yet. Tina, T, but
have you watched it?
I got to watch it.
T,
for me, nothing. I watched most of it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
Yeah, I've told him that I'm still on the I'm on the Kenny Omega match. I got the Kenny Omega match to finish, and I got the Jericho Pinnacle watch. Those are only two.
Honestly, those are the exact ones I'm on myself.
So Bleacher Report just posted that the New Day, by the way, came out in Power Rangers gear tonight.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I do want to go ahead and say, how did he blow into a flute wearing a mask? But
and it sounded like a synthesizer.
It sounded like a synthesizer. I love that meme, by the way. I love that meme. Only because Rob and Lawler. That's true. That's true. Me and Jerry go way back 2 years.
Didn't he let you drive his Batmobile?
No, he was trying to sell it at the time.
Oh, okay.
True story, by the way. He was trying to sell it. Anyways, so Double or Nothing started with I don't remember what match actually started it.
I do. It was
Brian Cage. Brian Cage versus
I'm gonna tell you that the part of that match, that got me is when Jake went to the ring and Brian Cage took that bag with a snake in it and tossed it back up the ramp. I was like, holy fuck. That did make me laugh. It was sad, but it was funny. He's like, ah.
So Brian Cage coming out looking like a Terminator that was made out of aluminum foil. Like literally, I think I gotta say, cosplayers have taken paper plates and aluminum foil and made it look better than Brian Cage's outfit. And then it took him extra time to be able to get it off. Like he didn't know how to take the damn thing off.
His paper plates just rip it off, or aluminum just.
Yeah, exactly. Like just. Well, actually, he's so muscular, you just go like this and rip it off, you know? So So I had a problem with that. I'm glad Hangman won the match because it basically makes them 1-1 against each other now. But what's it do for Hangman? The only thing, or not for Hangman, what's it do for Brian Cage? Because the only thing it does for Brian Cage is it means that Wednesday night or Friday night this week, he's going to get kicked out of Team Taz, right?
Don't worry. No worries.
What do you mean, no worries?
Only one that's big enough to mess with him is Hobbs.
Yep.
Shoot, if I'm Cage, I'm gonna come in that Batista face for a little while.
No. What it does is he can go get Miro right now for that for the TNT title. And eventually I'm sure he'll go for the TNT title. But for right now,
Brian Cage?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll go for the AEW title. Right now,
hold on. Why does Brian Cage get to go for a title when he just lost to Hangman?
Well, not now, dumbass. I'm saying
in fact, why doesn't Hangman get to say that he's the FTW title holder?
Because Taz didn't put it on the line.
It wasn't on the line.
Which I thought was dumb. I think they should have put that title on the line, and then he could have. Then they would have had Hangman could go against the rest of them. He can go against Hobbs.
How many times did How many times did the Ringmaster put the $1 million belt on the line?
There you go.
Ringmaster didn't even want to wear that belt.
He didn't want to be the Ringmaster.
He didn't even want to be the Ringmaster, right? You know, Steve Austin actually talks about it. He's like, "Do you ever see my work? You really think I'm the Ringmaster?"
Look. He could have been Fangs Frost.
I think this Killer Frost.
No, Fangs Frost. Remember
all the different names they want to call him. Frosty McFreeze.
Yep.
But this loss doesn't hurt Brian Cage though at all because it actually elevates both of them. Like I get what you're coming. I get where you're coming from, Rob. I get where you're coming from, Rob. But with how it happened, it kept him strong. And now that
this is my show. If I say that it makes him go down, it makes him go down. Damn it! I'm kidding.
It doesn't make him go down, because it's my show too. It doesn't make him go down. I think that
I'm muting Tino right now. That's what.
but I don't think it makes him go down because he didn't lose the Taz's son and the fake Rock. Yeah, the fake Rock. He came out there.
Don't call him fake Rock. Fake Rock was Sonny Siaki, and we all know it.
That's true. Actually, I do like
Ricky Starks.
Yeah, I do like him. I think he needs to go face, but he's got a good potential.
Although Eli Drake is probably also more fake Rock than him.
I think if Vince would have let him keep that Eli Drake character, it'd have gone over. He'd have been able to, and he might pull out the.
But Vince wants to market it so he can make money off of it.
I know.
And if he lets it go Eli Drake and he makes a superstar out of him, then he leaves and he's Eli Drake everywhere.
See, I don't get how that happened because he let AJ keep his moniker.
No. So hold on. Eli Drake is no AJ Styles. AJ Styles has been a world champion everywhere.
Okay, and Samoa Joe? Well, I guess
Samoa Joe was a world champion everywhere. They also go through moments where Finn Balor was Prince Devitt.
Prince Devitt?
Yeah,
they didn't. Yeah,
he wasn't a world champion everywhere.
But they kind of let him go back.
Intercontinental champion. Now, when you want to sit there and say Shinsuke Nakamura was still the IWGP World Champion at one point. The thing is that they look at it and they go. They probably during negotiations when Finn Balor came in as Prince Devitt, when he was looking at it, it was the same time that Kenta came in, and they made Kenta. What did they make Kenta? I can't even remember his name when he was in WWE now because it's so long. But it was shortly after Finn Balor came in, and Finn Balor, when he came in, actually came in as Prince Devitt for the first episode, and he said, "From now on, I'll be known as Finn Balor." and his whole reasoning for it was because of the lore of the Irishmen and everything, and the Irish history and stuff. So his made sense.
Hideo Itami.
Hideo Itami, you're right.
Hideo.
And if you remember, when Kenta first showed up, it said Kenta on the screen in NXT, and then it flipped to say Itami. Remember that?
Yeah.
But yet he was always hurt, so he was never going to get over. And now look at him. I mean, he's jobbing to John Moxley in a sub brand. No, I'm kidding.
Who is he? Kenta in AEW?
He's Kenta in New Japan.
Okay.
Which, by the way, the whole idea of Kenta being in New Japan is like Kenta was the guy that was like the biggest one in a different promotion because he didn't want to go to New Japan, and now that promotion's like nothing, so he went to New Japan now. Regardless,
Hangman didn't disrespect the snake bag. That was Miro.
Well, Miro has every right to disrespect everything because they've disrespected Miro.
No. Chris Barrett said if Jake didn't hit the DDT on Hangman, it wasn't Hangman that did it. It was Miro. No, not Miro. Sorry, it was
Brian Cage. Was it Brian Cage?
What is he talking about? I think he's got his match mixed. His matches mixed up. Yeah, whatever.
Well, he said, I mean, Hogan is more fake Rock than anybody else, depending on how long he depends in the tanning booth or spends in the tanning booth. Sorry. Chris Barrett, my favorite line about Hulk Hogan ever was when Billy Kidman actually sat there and said, and Tino knows this one, when Billy Kidman, of all people, got on a microphone and said, Hulk Hogan, the reason why you got orange skin is because you've been in the limelight too long.
I like Booker T. He said, Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. Oh, sorry, I can't say that. Yeah.
You almost canceled us right there, Tino.
Oh, I don't say that word.
You almost canceled us.
I wasn't gonna say that word. I don't say that word, but yeah.
Yeah,
they
but
did that. They said they talked about that in the Booker T thing too.
They did. So all right, so let's talk a little bit more about Double or Nothing.
Let's see. What was
Chris
next?
Barrett, why didn't you talk any friends into coming onto our show and like paying attention to us?
I gotta
the Young Bucks versus John Moxley and Eddie Kingston.
I don't even know why I wasted my time watching that match because I knew it was going to happen.
This right here, two things. I said this on our Facebook group. I am okay with how this match ended, only because two singles wrestlers should not be able to win the tag team championship against an elite tag team, right? So the elite tag team here is the Elite.
Mm-hmm.
And Moxley and Kingston, while they gave them their own tag team music and everything, Wild Thing, they're not really a tag team. Now, doesn't matter to me. It matters more to me. I'm sorry. It matters more to me that these two are guys that were on and main evented a pay-per-view level show to go against each other, and now they're tag teaming against the best tag team in the world, right? So watching the Young Bucks win, I get it, because they're going up against guys that aren't a tag team. But then they went up against a tag team that had wrestled 11 more times than them a couple weeks ago. Friends of the show, The Addiction, SCU, by the way. And everybody's like, Rob, why are you so mad about the fact that like they didn't show the breakup of The Addiction? when the storyline was the Addiction was going, if they lost a match, they wouldn't be able to tag anymore. And then they didn't show it. So why was I upset about that? Well, because they're one of the best fucking tag teams in the fucking world, and they didn't get to show it. So now you have Moxley and Kingston lose against the Young Bucks. And I don't have a real problem with that because Moxley and Kingston are only going to tag team as long as they have to for this situation. Now, should they have won the tag team titles in this match? I do think they should have, because I think it would have added to the story of the Young Bucks going and swindling their ways to get their title back. Yeah. But now if they sit there and they try to push the story further, I think it's just bullshit. And these guys wasted time and wasted our hard-earned money for this. Well, the Elite are not the best tag team in the world. Are the Dudley Boys of the New Age? Okay, Chris Barrett, you need to just try to be like current, okay, bro? We love you, but you got to be current right now. And I'm trying to give AEW as much positive exposure as possible, because everybody knows I'm a WWE mark. And when I sit there and I go and I talk about AEW, I normally talk very negatively about it, and I'm not trying to, because I really did enjoy this pay-per-view in double speed.
The best tag team right now, there's two of them, and they're both okay. We'll say the best tag team in AEW right now. It's got to be Ortiz.
No, it's the tag team champions.
Or FTR.
No, it's the tag team champions.
Okay, if you're going by that, I'm saying that. But no, you can't say the tag team champions because they are vice presidents of that fucking company.
But they've also won every match.
Because they're vice presidents. Who books this shit?
Well, apparently, if we go to the Facebook group, our friend Chris on there will tell us that Tony Khan is the ultimate say. Yeah. However, you're right, Tino. The tag team group right now is booked by the Young Bucks. And we've talked about it already. We think that the fact that the Young Bucks are the champions and Kenny Omega is the champion has something to do with this negativity going on between the four executive producers, right? Cody's sitting there doing one thing, and the other three are all champions, right? That's kind of what we've been saying. Cody came out this week, by the way, and said that's not the case. He said that they all get on the same page by the time they have to book the show, and they book the show the way they need to book the show. I think Cody just sits there and goes, well, fuck it. If you're going to book the show that way, then I'm just going to book the Go-Go match the way that I want the Go-Go match to go, and you guys book everything else. And Tony, if you agree or disagree, go ahead and book it the way that you want, right? So I think that that's the way it's going right now. I think the good news is there's 5 guys on the booking committee of AEW, which means if you get a 3-2 vote, the one with a 3 wins. And I think that that's okay, as long as it continues to promote positivity and the ability for certain people to win in the company. Like, let's go ahead and talk about Jungle Boy winning the what do they call it?
Battle Royal. Casino Battle Royal.
Casino Battle Royal.
He had the best spot in that too. We talked about that before we came on the air.
Yes, he did. And I even said that in my little post on our Facebook group. The Chris Barrett says no, it's FTW. I mean, Cody is doing the right thing. Omega and the Young Bucks need to put the egos aside and do what's best for business. I think they feel like what they're doing is best for business, because having Kenny Omega, who was the best wrestler in the world for 2 straight years, be your world champion in AEW does mean that they are doing the right thing by having him be the world champion. I think that having the Young Bucks, who have been looked at as the best tag team in the world that's not in the WWE, hold on, Tino, be the world champion in AEW means that they are doing what's best for business. Does it mean they're doing what's best in the long term for business? And the answer is no, right? Because the longer we are a smart mark society, right? We understand where the business is coming from. They've already all said they are EVPs of the business. So sitting there trying to explain that you are in charge of the business and of your division, and then winning without the other team ever trying to pin you, which has happened in a Young Bucks match at this point, is basically saying that team had no opportunity to win in the first place. So Jungle Boy winning, for example, is just going to be a really good match, and you're going to have Dave Meltzer, one of the smartest marks out there, even though he's got the dirtiest bedroom out of everybody that he sits there and works out of. He's going to sit there and say that's a 5-star match between Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega, right? Except, does Jungle Boy really have a chance of winning this match? Now, you two guys are not nearly on Dave Meltzer's level, right? Neither am I. Here's the thing. We know better than Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer will sit there and say, man, I really thought that Jungle Boy had a chance to win that match, and because of that, that's what really pushed that match to the moon. No. The fact is that Jungle Boy, yes, is he going to get the rub? Is he going to look good 2 weeks from now and actually be somebody that we sit there and think could possibly be a main eventer long term? Yes. But you know what's different about anything else? Nothing. We've already said that Luke Perry's kid has the opportunity to be a long-term main event talent. We've already said it.
Well, at this point, though, because they even mentioned it in the Battle Royal, Brian Pillman Jr. is getting a good push because his daddy's bio just came out. So I'm expecting them to push and Jim Ross accidentally called them the Hollywood Blondes. If you notice, he had to catch himself. But I think Pillman's going to get a push here soon, too.
Nope, he's not.
Or that team.
I mean, they did. They went for the World Tag Team Championships. And guess what happened? They fucking lost. And here's why. Because the ego of the tag team champions right now being the bookers and the EVPs.
Well, look at I was about to say before you cut me off earlier, you told me to wait a minute. Why does Kenny Omega have to have right now he's the AEW champion. He's the AAA champion, and he's also the Impact champion. Why?
Dude, he's been the AAA champion since before AEW was a thing. Like, that's how long he's been AAA champion. So either they haven't been running wrestling programs, or Kenny Omega's been going down to Mexico when you weren't allowed out of the country. I don't think that's what was happening, right? So to answer your question, why is he Impact champion? Well, that's because his best friend books Impact.
Well, Don Callis and Jericho are good friends too. So why isn't Jericho the Impact champion?
Well, because Jericho won't work Impact. He doesn't want to work extra shows. Okay. Remember, the reason why Triple H isn't SmackDown champion is because he doesn't want to work Tuesdays, right? It's the same thing. Like, I was actually very surprised, since we're talking about double or nothing a little bit. I was very surprised that the Inner Circle won because I thought Jericho was going to take time off to go tour.
He may still.
What's that?
He may still.
He may, because Sammy may step up now, right? But
he might be the Triple H. He might be the Triple H of Inner Circle.
He will not be called Don Callis.
Where
Jericho, Cyrus the Virus.
Where Shawn Michaels was the leader of where Jericho is the Shawn Michaels of DX. If he goes away, Sammy could be the Triple H of the Inner Circle.
Well, you're right. And I think they're going to sell the fact that Jericho's got the bad arm so that he can go tour for a while. Because, I mean, his contract was for 3 years, and we're now almost in the third year of AEW at this point. And Jericho really hasn't taken any time off, but it's because he wasn't allowed to play in his band, right? Now he can go back and start playing in his band again. So, wait, Jericho has a drug problem and a bad back now?
What?
I don't think so, Chris Barrett. But that's my.
He's trying to. I said the Shawn Michaels of DX. I got him.
Fair enough. So going back to the Kenny thing, Kenny being Impact champion was just because Kenny's best friend is the booker there, and was able to sit there and talk the people that are in charge into understanding that you have 1 million people watching AEW, and you have maybe 150 to 200,000 people watching Impact. So stop, let me finish my statement.
No, I'm one of those.
So, but you understand that that's a 5-to-1 ratio, right? So in that 5-to-1 ratio, having Kenny hold your championship, which is why people got pissed off, because Kenny let Michael Nakazawa wear the championship for Impact. And when was the last time we saw that AAA championship? So now that you've got Andrade facing Kenny for the AAA championship, I do think Andrade is going to take that belt from him.
I wonder if Andrade is going to show up on AEW.
Well, everyone was hoping that he was going to be the Leo Rush guy to show up.
Where the hell did that come from?
But they didn't have Andrade, so they couldn't use him. What my thing is, why didn't they just have Mark Henry do it?
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush was a hot hand, man. He was a cruiserweight champion, and he was the best advocate for Bobby Lashley. Lashley. Okay,
yeah,
that's really loud.
And that's why Leo Rush was a great heel right there.
So all right, so then we had the two main events, right? Well, let's go ahead and first say congratulations to one Britt Baker for a year after getting hurt.
You missed two.
To become the AEW Women's Champion.
You glossed over the Cody Rhodes match and the Sting and Darby match.
Did I gloss over them, or just did I not care?
You did. Well, if we're going to talk about the pay-per-view, they were on the pay-per-view.
Okay, so the Darby Sting match actually.
You try to make me gloss over to the moon every week, so
Darby Sting. Was everything you'd expect it to be. I mean, like the fact that Sting took the big bump was great, but otherwise, the team that you expected to win won the match. Okay, Darby Sting wins the match.
How about Cody?
The American Dream, Cody Rhodes versus Anthony Ogogo. I said last week you can't book Cody as the American Dream one time only and have him lose that match. So we got exactly what we thought we'd get, right?
Yeah. I mean, I thought Ogogo should win, but I get why he did.
Anything Darby and Sting does is gold, 5 stars every time. Thank you, Dave Meltzer. I mean, Chris Barrett. The matches were fine. I thought that they were long. That's my main thing is that each of those it was a 4-hour long pay-per-view that probably could have cut at least 30 minutes out of the entire show.
Yeah.
And I only say that because recently I've been thinking about it, and I don't like when pay-per-views go over 3 hours. I think they're just too long. I think that the battle royals are always way too long.
And that's why it went over. They had to make the time for the battle royal.
Maybe, I don't know. But Britt Baker beat Sheeta. It was a hell of a match.
That was a hell of a match.
It was a hell of a match.
And Tony, now are they turning Britt baby?
Because she hugged Tony Schiavone?
No, I mean, but the fans are cheering her more now.
The fans have always cheered her.
I don't think they're turning her. Do you think Britt's going to go face now?
So let me put it this way. Britt Baker became a baby face when she lost to Thunder Rosa in that Lights Out match. The next week, Britt Baker said, "I don't want to be babyface, goddammit." And she whined and complained wearing her Mick Foley her Mick Foley flannel around her waist. And even called out Mick Foley saying, "I'm not Mick Foley, goddammit." And yes, I just said goddammit twice. I'm sorry. 3 times now. My point is, no, Cody was not in polka dots, Chris Barrett. And no, in WWE, I think he still got called the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, but the polka dots version was never the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. Let's be fair and be real there.
But he got it over.
He did. Well, Sapphire got it over.
I think Dusty did it before. He was well on his way getting over. Sapphire helped. I think Dusty got it over.
I think he actually just picked Sapphire out of the crowd and was like, "I'm going to take that woman with that afro, and we're going to put her in polka dots too, and we're going to be over like to the moon, baby."
That wasn't even an afro. That's like a Jerry curl she had going on.
Yeah, you're probably right. But Dusty got Sapphire over. Yes, Chris Barrett, absolutely.
But her dance moves got her over.
I mean, who wouldn't want to hug Tony Schiavone? Now that you say it, considering he's got that earring and he's got that goatee going, I mean, he's trying to be 1990s cool again. But to answer Tino's question, is Britt Baker babyface? Not until she says, "Tony, make me babyface," and not talking about Schiavone, talking about Tony Khan, right? Because yes, she should be, but she's not.
All right. So
and now that you had 5,000 people in the crowd all cheering her, yes, she should be, and maybe they'll sit there and have a conversation backstage that makes her.
I think the what stood out to me on AEW, I watched, was it Friday night, where she said the error before me was 316. This error is going to be DMB or DMD, whatever she is. And the crowds, when she goes to D, they're doing that with her, the DMD.
Do you know what? So Tino, you're absolutely right. And here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that everybody wants to be loved in this era. Everybody wants to be loved. They could be babyface, they could be heel. Like Maxwell Jacob Friedman wants to be loved as a heel. He wants kids in wheelchairs to come up to him at conventions so he can sit there and go, "Yeah, as long as you stand up and talk to me, I'll sign your stuff." Right?
He's a dick. But
he wants to be loved for doing that. He doesn't want to be hated for doing it, which is what a heel's job is. Now, granted, we are in a different environment where Sami Zayn as a heel, I cheer for. But that's because I'm waiting for him to turn babyface, right? But that's just it. Is that we understand that it is an act. So now, like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, like I was trying to say at my panel this weekend, we're able to sit there and go, we cheer for the bad guy because we're waiting for that moment where they totally obliterate an asshole kind of thing. And it's the same thing. Britt Baker is going to be heel until she wants to be babyface. The problem is that we're going to cheer more and more for her to where she's going to have to do it whether she wants to or not. Right now, she's super comfortable being a heel. She's not super comfortable being a babyface.
Well, she shouldn't. But
look at Adam Cole. Adam Cole was a babyface for 3 weeks.
But here's the thing.
Then all of a sudden they turned him heel again because they knew that he felt more comfortable in that role.
But it's the same conversation we've had over and over and over. She doesn't have to be, quote unquote, babyface. Stone Cold. A lot of these guys, Randy Orton, are still doing heelish things. So she, in her mind, she can still be a heel, but people still cheer. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. She's not comfortable being a babyface, but she doesn't have to start smiling and kissing babies. She can still be the same. You know what I'm saying? She can still be her.
As much as they are the exact same person, their delivery changes. The Rock starts waiting, and when he says, "The millions," he waits. When he was a heel saying the millions, he was like, "The millions and millions of The Rock's fans."
Or even when he turned to Hollywood Rock.
Sit there and cheer.
But she doesn't have a catchphrase either. The only thing she's got is a DMD. She doesn't have a catchphrase.
Well, they're going to have to work on that because guess what? They ain't going to have a choice. And speaking of not having a choice,
but I'm going to let you finish. But even when The Rock was heel, he would go, "This isn't sing along with The Rock." He was playing.
Hold on. Not when he first started as The Rock. When he first started as The Rock, it was
lawyer roll, shut your mouth. The cadence was faster. You are correct, Rob. The cadence
it was The Rock knows that the millions of fans of The Rock are going to sit there and follow The Rock, and that's what the millions do. And then all of a sudden it became the millions
and millions
of The Rock's fans, and that's when he was over. It's like so of all people to tell Steve Austin that he was over as a babyface, it was Brian Pillman, and Brian Pillman was like, "The hell are you doing trying to get over as a baby?" And he's like, "I am baby," and he's like, "Dude, you're baby," and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm not baby," and he's like, "Dude, have you listened to that reaction?" "Oh, we lost T."
"What happened?"
"We lost him. He just dropped off. Maybe he wants to be in the audience now. I don't know." But I mean, the last great heel was Shane Douglas in the ECW. Shane Douglas was a great heel in ECW. Hey, we got your back, T.
I don't know what happened.
We just thought you wanted to be in the chat.
Nah.
So that's what I'm saying is that like Britt Baker is going to have to realize, and now having that crowd cheer her, she's going to have to realize that she knows that they're cheering, which means she has to actively make that change. And it's not going to be a big change. It's going to be like, which one of you fans is going to be in my dentist chair this week, right? Like she's going to do something like that where it's something that makes her likable. Because she's already attractive. So people that are just into bitches are gonna like that, but now it's
into bitches. What are you, the Godfather now?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not the Godfather. Like someone who's bitchy. A
Okay.
bitch.
Okay.
Not. I'm gonna get canceled for that, aren't I?
No.
A piece of garbage to stay heel. She tried to do that by invoking the name of Mick Foley, but you knew that she was invoking the name of Mick Foley in a moment of homage because she was wearing the flannel around her waist. And that's what I tried to tell Tino, and Tino agreed with me during that, was the fact that she sat there and she's like, oh, no, Mick Foley, you don't get to say da-da-da-da. But she was wearing the flannel around her waist, which meant we knew that she knew exactly what it was. I like Britt Baker because she's – I actually want to go get an appointment to get my teeth looked at by Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. Like, I will drive to fucking Pittsburgh to get my teeth looked. Tino, you want to go?
We'll go. T, you want to go with it?
T, you want to go?
I'm down. Hell yeah!
So we will make appointments to have the DMD actually check our and I'll let her do whatever she needs to because I've got insurance. So
I'm like, can you put the lockjaw on me?
No. I'll ask her if she can do the Jennifer Aniston from Horrible Bosses to me. Tino's like, I haven't seen that movie.
I have seen that movie. I'm trying to remember. Oh. Oh, yeah.
So, okay. So all right. So we talked about most of the main matches there.
Let's just get to the one we're here for.
Which one's that?
The Stampede, baby.
All right. Well, you guys didn't watch it.
You did, so let's go.
I did. So
you watched the whole thing, though, you said.
No, I watched it.
Oh.
I watched it. The Stadium Stampede was a cinematic plus live action match.
Kind of like the last one, right?
No, the last one was just cinematic because there were no crowds back then.
Okay.
It was a year ago. The interesting thing about it was that it was about 35 minutes long. And it started with the Inner Circle, like what do they call it? Rappelling down the Jaguars sign. So they're all like going down like SEAL Team 6 kind of stuff. And they rappel down and then they come into the stadium and Maxwell, MJF is there by himself and he's like, come on, Chris, you know that you're not ready for this and blah blah blah. And then when the Inner Circle gets down, he jumps back into the limo that they all showed up in. Except they didn't all show up in the limo, just MJF showed up in the limo. So another vehicle shows up, and I guess it's Dash Wilder's truck. And the other four get out and start beating up all of the guys from the Inner Circle. Well, at that point, MJF gets back out of the limo, and he's like looking around, and all of a sudden you hear Jericho from behind him go, hey, Max, turn around. And then they start their little fight, right? So what you really have is like 3 cinematic different matches happening. And I'm going to tell you four matches. I'm sorry, 4. You've got Jericho and MJF, which is a lot of fun to watch.
I was going to say I saw something on Twitter or something where he was in the coach's room. They were giving him stuff to hit MJF with.
So they go through the building and they get to the coach's room, and Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong, 2 college football coaches who are now coaching the Jaguars. Urban Meyer actually hands Jericho his laptop, and Jericho breaks his laptop over MJF, which was pretty funny. The laptop wasn't turned on when he actually hit him with it, so I don't know what the hell those 2 dudes were doing in that office. But Charlie Strong threw one of the footballs at MJF, and it was pretty funny. But that was totally a hey, now that you work for our organization, do you want to try to gain some fans by like helping out Chris Jericho? Sure. That kind of thing, right? Then you had Sammy Guevara versus Sean Spears, where Sean Spears did this one moment where he was sitting on a chair in a room where he was in a spotlight, and behind him there was a light showing like 1 million chairs. So that was the chairman's room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally didn't matter though. He did not hit him with a bedpan. So then there was FTR versus Proud and Powerful. Is that what the Pride and Powerful?
Yeah,
Proud
probably.
and Powerful. Get it right.
And they go to a club inside the thing. So they go into a bar, but there's a DJ playing and there's just random people in there. And the DJ is Conan.
I love it. I love it.
I definitely gotta see this match now.
And Tully Blanchard, by the way, at 60-something years old, looks like a gay male stripper from Rhode Island during this. And I don't know what a gay stripper from Rhode Island looks like, except for the fact that he's wearing the Pinnacle shirt, except it's got holes down all the way down the side. And it's cut down like this. And he's dressed like Dash and Wheeler, or Cash and Wheeler, right? And you're looking at him like, why the fuck is Tully Blanchard looking like this? Tully Blanchard literally looks like he's trying to pick up like 6 dudes, like, that just got off the boat or something. I don't know.
Okay.
And then they get to a point where Proud and Powerful comes in, and they do this thing where like they just beat up a bunch of dudes that are just standing inside the bar for no reason. So the baby faces just beat the shit out of people for no reason, right? Then FTR does the same thing because it's like, well, anything you can do, I can do better, right? And then they get to where Tully Blanchard has them all stand at a table, and there's a bottle of vodka and 4 glasses. So all 4 of them drink their vodka, and then they beat the shit out of each other. And at this point in the match, everything that I've talked about, one person tries to make a pinfall victory. Okay.
Okay. So then
Jake Hager and Wardlow decide they're going to sit there and just go, hey, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to throw you into everything. And let me ask you guys something. Out of the 2 of them, who do you truly believe is going to be able to pick up and throw the other one through everything?
Hager.
Okay, so you both said Hager. Well, Wardlow throws Hager through everything. And Hager looks, oh God. And then towards the end, Hager like power bombs them through something. And you're like, oh, okay, so Hager finally got something here. Okay. All the while, Sean Spears runs off from Sammy Guevara because he actually handcuffed him to something. And then the Inner Circle motorcycle gang shows up. I don't even know who these guys are because they're not wrestlers. And they start racing after Sean Spears.
You sure it wasn't Don and Ron Harris?
Well, considering they said the Inner Circle motorcycle gang, I'm going to assume it's just 6 random guys on bikes. Then you get to the point where like we're getting towards the end of the match, and Jericho and MJF actually make their way back to the crowd in the actual like arena, right? So So you know that they were sitting backstage, all sitting there drinking, having a good time, high-fiving each other. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh, yeah. You know, like we filmed all this yesterday and bullshit. And then all of a sudden, you know, Jericho and MJF go out, and they're in like the third deck. And Jericho grabs like one of those weird round strobe lights that spins around and stuff and like hits MJF with it. Now, I'm going to point out that during this match would have never been allowed to happen in the way that it did in the WWE, no matter what. And here's why. The amount of times people hit each other in the face or head with a chair, with any type of illegal object, a computer, or throwing them through glass or anything else, it was always in the head. The WWE won't allow that anymore because, why, Tino?
Concussions.
So the fact that all of this stuff happened, they were purposely trying to show this is how our product is different than the WWE.
Yeah. Same thing ECW did when they came out. They were trying to be different.
Sure. But that was still during the time when even WWE would hit people in the head. Because that was before Royal Rumble when Mick Foley took 18 chair shots. So we get to the end, and like I said, we got Jericho and MJF fighting in the third deck. And suddenly Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears are in the ring.
Who took the handcuffs off?
So earlier, and this actually made sense, earlier Shawn Spears found a thing of bolt cutters and he threw them. And Tony Schiavone, being the guy to make sure that everything made sense, said, Sammy Guevara looks like he just found a set of bolt cutters that were thrown earlier by Shawn Spears. And they were within reach to be able to grab them and cut them off. Shawn Spears hits him with a couple more chair shots and everything else, and Sammy keeps kicking out. And what I liked about this, so everybody who thinks that I do not like AEW wrestling, I'm going to say right now, I liked the finale of this match, specifically because who was the one that gave up during War Games? I mean, Blood and Guts.
Guevara did.
Yep.
So Sammy being able to kick out of multiple headshot chair shots and multiple moves from Shawn Spears. And I mean, to the point where, like, now Tino knows that I hate the cup, the cup 3 count. I hate that. If you're going to call 3, it's 1, 2, 3. You don't 1, 2, whoop. You don't cup it. You don't cup it. Well, I got to give AEW credit because they didn't cup it. Sammy Guevara kicked out after getting a chair shot to the head, and then Shawn Spears' finisher, and it was, and they caught it. And then Sammy Guevara sliced bread and did everything else, does what he normally does, and he was the one to pick up the victory, which caused all of the other Inner Circle to come down to the ring and celebrate the rest of the match. While, of course, when the music was playing, the entire 5,000 person crowd was singing Fozzy. So I absolutely loved that ending because it also fit with the story of Sammy being the one that actually did give up before.
But I've been telling you this for weeks and months. I think Guevara is going to be their new. They're putting a rocket on his ass.
They might be.
He's the new, and I hate to say it, but he's Eddie Guerrero. He's a Rock. You know, he's all these. You know, he's got all that same charisma.
He does. He also is very reckless. He's had multiple moments where people have gotten hurt around him.
He's still young. He's still young.
He's also said shit that has gotten him in a lot of trouble.
He's still young.
Mm-hmm.
No, Tino, you're not saying anything I don't agree with, and in fact, he has the look, he has the presence, he even has the ability to speak on the mic. So he has the 3 areas that you need to have to be successful in the business. The thing the only thing that irks me about this is that this was about Jericho and MJF. And Jericho didn't pin MJF. Jericho was the one thrown off the top of the thing, and Jericho didn't pin him.
Jericho and MJF aren't done. I think that's why they're going to continue the storyline.
Well, and that's part of what Sammy said a couple weeks ago when he said, as long as we're all in AEW, this will never be over, right? But what does that mean? We've now had it where the inner circle doesn't disband, but what does it mean? Because we know that it's not over.
We'll see.
And overall, this is something that needed to have, like,
but no, because we always talk about with WWE continuity. They're keeping it going. That's something you even say about Raw. They don't keep the story going. They do something and then they cut it.
Yeah, but this isn't WWE. This isn't WWE, and this is supposed to be better booking.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But it is booking because there's continuity.
So you're saying it's not better booking?
It's better booking than WWE. Yes, it's continuity.
Is it? Because this is a match that was set up that was meant to mean Jericho versus MJF.
It's a slow burn. I see what you're saying.
It's already been a slow enough burn. Give me a fucking end.
You didn't say that about Sasha and Bailey. That slow ass burn. Continuity. That's the only thing that's continuity in WWE.
Actually, T, you obviously didn't watch all of that.
I know, I'm messing with you. I'm just talking shit.
Because we definitely said that was a slow burn. Needed to end
way too long. Yeah, it did.
So,
okay. Apollo's damn accent out of nowhere. That's not continuity.
Sure it was. Sure it was. He actually said, "This is how I actually speak."
This is the reverse Kofi.
That's exactly what it was.
But yes, back to Sammy.
And hey, I'll tell you what, that dude is running with it, and he's taking it as far as he can go, and he is better for it. Which 3 months ago we all would have said was a bad idea.
Sure.
You know, like, and that's partly because the people around him are making him even better. Which means Dabba-Kato is making him better.
Oh my god!
Which means
that's continuity in itself. Because who was he before that? Oh no, he was Dabba-Kato before. What's his name now? Aziz.
Yeah, he's like Commander Aziz or something.
Aziz,
like that,
yeah.
Right?
Well,
so
that's it.
So hold on. There is a couple other things, Tino.
Oh shit!
I know.
It's 2.5 hours now, right?
He's sleepy. I'm sorry. I messed it longer. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not sleepy.
No, we're all sleepy, but
it's 11 o'clock and I got 3 hours worth of water watch.
I know, me too. And I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. So WWE apparently is in negotiations with New Japan Pro Wrestling to be their exclusive home of trade-off for who they work with in the United States.
Haven't heard about that. Why? They've got motherfuckers that they're not using now.
So here's the deal. So the talk is to also include a talent trade program. Which, by the way, a lot of WWE guys would not mind using their WWE name in New Japan to get them over.
So is New Japan going to be on it's not a network anymore? Are they going to be show stuff on Peacock now? Is New Japan, you know what I mean?
So negotiations, Nick Khan, who is president of operations for WWE, I believe is his title, is trying to work the deal. But here's a couple things that would require, right? It would require Jon Moxley to drop the IWGP North American title.
U.S. strap, isn't it? It's a United States.
Yeah. You're right. U.S. title, which means that title would probably have to be dropped and would probably go to a WWE guy. WWE has plenty of talent that they could send over to New Japan.
It's Seth.
Seth?
That'd be funny. Moxley versus Seth. Can't use Roman.
It won't be Moxley because if they are the exclusive home.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he have to drop it to Seth. That's what I'm saying. That'd be funny.
See, I that would remind me of when Taz won the ECW title off of Mike Awesome.
Yep.
When neither one of them was an ECW wrestler at that point.
Yep.
But yet they respected Taz to allow him to take the belt before Taz dropped it to, I think, Mikey Whipwreck, actually.
Yep.
So that is a huge piece of news right now.
I think they're doing that because they don't want because AEW is already working with Impact. Now, I'm not saying Impact is
they're not just working with Impact, they're working with New Japan.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying though. They're trying to make a deal so New Japan won't work with Impact. I mean, work with AEW anymore.
So Tony Khan posted a video like he did on the Impact videos where he actually spoke about it and said, "Oh, you're in negotiations with them." Well, we're already doing that.
If Tony Khan was smart, he'd get up with ROH.
Tony Khan was smart. He'd just buy all the other ones.
That's strong. Yeah, that's true, though. Vince does.
So, all that said, AEW is not on until Friday this week after SmackDown again. Good time zone, good timing for them. Obviously, we've got a new commentator on Monday Night Raw tonight with Jimmy Smith.
I want to check him out.
We've got probably a new number one contender in AEW, actually NXT, because I believe Johnny Gargano goes up against two other guys on Tuesday.
Against your boy the Bruiserweight and
Pete Dunne, yeah.
O'Reilly.
And O'Reilly, yeah.
So that'll be interesting because I almost think Johnny Gargano sneaks out with it. Who do you guys got?
I almost want to say Bruiserweight.
Well, but remember, Johnny already has built-in storyline when Austin Theory went up against Killian Dane. Or Killian Cross.
And you know, I love Johnny.
Karrion Cross.
I love Johnny, but they need to push somebody new.
Yeah, but if they're not ready for like that big time like pay-per-view match,
yeah,
then Johnny's perfect.
But Bruiserweight, he's already had the NXT. He had the NXT UK title. He is main event material. Not O'Reilly. I don't think O'Reilly should. If I had to choose between them, I'm gonna go with Bruiserweight. O'Reilly's not quite ready yet, and Johnny's had it.
But here's the thing. That's why he could go Gargano now, because if he loses, which you know he's going to, it doesn't hurt him. Now you put O'Reilly in that position now. If you really want to push him as a main event down the line, that will hurt him early. So I would say Gargano and then the other two.
Yeah, and that's why I would say Gargano as well, because it allows the other two to have another rubber match between them, and that determines the number one contender who goes at the next NXT takeover.
But wait, Gargano was never mind. Gargano wasn't in the faction that O'Reilly was in. Never mind.
Yeah, he wasn't in Undisputed Era.
Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
He's in the way, Tino. The way.
Yeah, he is in the fucking way. He needs to move over and get out the way.
He's too good, man. He is the Shawn Michaels of NXT.
Yeah.
And Shawn Michaels knows it. That's why he keeps pushing.
That's kind of Gargano's kind of like the Brock Lesnar,
No.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing him. I want somebody new. I want somebody fresh.
Well, I actually like the idea of Gargano versus Karrion Kross because they really haven't fought each other yet.
Kross will kill it.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, he killed Finn Balor twice. I mean, he's the last. He's the second to last big guy in NXT, but besides Thick Boy,
Gargano is the Ryback of NXT.
I would never say that. Chris Barrett's just trying to get a negative pop from us.
I think Ryback's going to AEW. But because I saw a picture of him on, was it Instagram or Twitter? He had an AEW shirt. I think he's going. And when did they announce Mark Henry on AEW? All of a sudden, did they announce it on a pay-per-view or just on their social media?
He came out on the pay-per-view.
He came out last night. Yeah.
On which match? Because I obviously I hadn't finished watching it, so
I don't know. It was towards the end of the night. It was after Leo Rush, which is funny because it was a bigger announcement than Leo Rush, and Leo Rush was the surprise.
So it must have been, because I've watched. I've watched it, so it must have been after either championship or probably around the Stampede match because I hadn't seen Mark Henry yet. So I'll keep watching and see. What did he come out for? Did he just come out and wave, or did they introduce him or announce him? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Tino, it's that time, brother.
It's past that time.
Last week we only did an hour-long show. This week we did a 2.5-hour-long show.
I know.
But there was a pay-per-view for AEW that we had to go over. So, I mean, like, it makes sense why it would be a little bit longer. And
I'm cool with it. It was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah. You know, after last week only being an hour,
over an hour, wasn't it?
It was like an hour and 11 minutes.
I thought it was about an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half.
Take us out. T, why don't you tell everybody where they can see you?
Because I don't know your stuff.
You can catch me on Instagram at John_T_Helios. The same for Twitter. And then you can catch the whole crew, the Villains of Vinyl crew, at Villains in, the letter N, Vinyl, one word. And that's the same on both Instagram and Twitter. Our podcast is on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for all you to hear. So please check us out. Thank you guys for having me on the show again. I love you guys.
I love you too, man. We love having you on the show, man. You need to come more often, dude.
I will. I just know I have all the hair, so sometimes I'm scared to come on the show.
Oh Lord, yeah, you do have more hair than me and Robin. And folks, you can catch That's Fool over here too. I guess that's my left. Yeah, you can catch him. Yeah, you can catch him. He's on the Twitter at Potsy. You can catch him on the Insta at, is that still Potsy?
Rob Potchak. You can catch him obviously on the YouTube that we're watching right now. You can check me out on the Twitter machine. I am SC Tino. No, I'm not. On the Twitter, I am the Hootie Fan 91. On Insta, I'm SC Tino. You can catch the show on. It's the Jim Beam. You can catch it. You can catch the show on Twitter. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Potsy and Tino on Twitter, Potsy and Tino Show on Facebook. As always, folks. You're giving your sip and sets.
Yes, on TikTok.
The tickety tock.
TikTok, Rob Potsy Potchak. You can. Yes, I've been drinking.
As always, we want to say thank you.
I've been drinking.
As always, we want to say thank you to Adam's House Cat for our theme song, which is the wrestling song. You can catch that on iTunes for 99 cents. And as always, on that big hill in the Queen City, I've learned not to say in Charlotte anymore because that's kind of incestuous. But in the Queen City, we hear Ric Flair, and he is saying, ew. Woo!
Woo! Woo!
Good night, folks. You got to do the Arn Anderson when you do it.